Yep. It is my stream now, Ayle, that the show's on. So
Okay.
I'm gonna tweet out because I forgot to do that,
I don't
and
know if
then
I have your stream followed.
yep,
Hmm.
a
I'm
lot of
close.
people did. Def Camp was in the other day and tried to sneak in the follow, and he was like, "I don't know why I'm not following you." I was like, "It's because you're following Mash Those Buttons and not me." Um. Okay, so it's just my name, Blazing Bob, just like it's spelled on Discord. And I'm gonna tweet out.
Oh boy, Bob, you're a floating head.
It's so weird.
Beautiful.
Oh, whoops, that was not good. All right, and then you got the guild, yep.
Yep.
And I'll just retweet and be good to start. Oh, in my, what's it called? What is going on with my, oh. I need file. I have my intro.
Gotta have your intro.
Like, how many times has he done it?
I know. It just, it makes me feel
Like your
better.
comfort blanket right now.
Yeah, it's,
You make me
Linus.
memorize every review every week, and you get to pull up your intro.
Memorize. That would be impressive. That would be impressive.
It's such a bizarre power move.
Need you to memorize this.
Cool, yep.
All right. Oh, Mel, I do need my charging cord that you took when you went out of town. You took my cord with your charging brick. Where's that at? My
What
vape,
cord?
my vape charging cord. It's the long one. It's the one I always use with my power brick. I had used
Oh.
your brick and plugged it in, and you took it with you out of town. So I've been using this one that's like super short, and I have to hold it up while so I don't want to do that during the show. Is it in your purse?
I don't know. I mean, you need it right now?
I'm gonna I have to charge the vape.
I
Sorry.
have to read this first one. I don't know what is this guy talking about.
So I had to ask my chat for that because it didn't make sense to me at all. But turns out it's a comedian.
He's
they
dead.
they said it was a good, like a positive review, basically. But
All right.
I don't. Yeah, it's it definitely threw me off. I was like, what does this mean?
What is that, Suwu? I don't. What?
And I don't know what NRE is either. I think I have an idea, but like, I guess it's a pretty crude podcast. Any luck, Mel? Oh, sick. Oh no, sorry. We're gonna get the show going here in just a second, guys. Sorry. Ayle Gaming, thanks for the follow.
Boom, we're in.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you. Right. I was just gonna get back to the computer. Oh, this isn't it, but this one will work. What's up, chat? What do you got going on? Hey, my camera came into to focus finally. All right. I don't know what Mel's doing now. She's indisposed.
Indisposed.
Disposed. I am a talking head.
Did you? That shirt. Did you know it did that?
Yeah, I did it.
Ah.
I did it as a joke. All right, I think we're about to roll. Whoa. Okay, too much. You guys are so quiet.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. This one's just for me. Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic, TBC Classic, and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazin' Bob, and we are joined once again by the magnificent Ryan, aka The Yip Show. How are you feeling, buddy?
Hello, I'm back. I feel okay.
I had so many people come into my stream asking if you were feeling better. And I was like, well, he made it to raid, so I think so.
Yeah, I
I
had
didn't
someone
ask at
tweet at
all.
me. Someone tweet at me that that you said I need to get good or get better, and
Get
then
better.
told me to get good.
Yeah, I definitely told him to tweet at you. I was trying to get you some more followers, baby.
Thanks, how sweet.
And we're also joined by the lovely Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hi guys. I'm good. Haven't played much WoW, so I'm here.
Hey, you've been out of town, but it's okay. You still have opinions about all the news that's coming up. But we are also joined once again by Ayle, aka Ayle Gaming. Welcome back to the show, buddy.
Glad to be here.
Good. You feeling good?
Feeling good. Feeling chatty. So
Awesome.
watch out.
And I'm feeling good. Boom. Nope.
Aile's postponing a date night to be here, so
Yep. So he might have to dip out early, but if that happens, we'll make sure and let him say bye and everything. So,
We are so
Most
generous.
gracious.
Here at the top of the show, I'd like to let everybody know that we are going to be streaming on a new channel going forward. I believe for the duration, but who knows? But we're going to be streaming on twitch.tv/BlazinBob. So it's just all Warcraft content there now. So if you want to see us live, just check it out. And yeah, it's just twitch.tv/BlazinBob. For the show this week, we're gonna do reviews. We didn't have any emails. We're not gonna get all the reviews, but we will get them in next week. Then we're gonna go over what we've been doing in WoW lately, maybe a little raid stuff, depending on what Yip has to say. We do have to talk to Yip about bear to kitty mode. Then we're going to go through news, and then discussion's going to be the last bit of news. Possibly throwing in a little lore segment from Yip at the end of the show. So, with that being said, let's get started. Let's jump into those reviews.
Yeah, so we did have a couple reviews. The first one.
Oh, Yip. Sorry. I just wanted to say we butchered them last week, and I'm so sorry. And I felt so bad for the people that got their reviews read by me.
Well, they got special ones because
Ugh.
every week I do it. That's like the norm.
Yeah,
They
but
got special
yeah, but
delivered.
they got special. It's like when you accidentally get like the wrong pizza, and it's just not as good.
Yeah, it's like you got an anchovy pizza. It's different.
No, this one time I ordered a pizza and it asked like what like sauces, and I thought they meant like sauces
Oh
on the side,
no, it was
right?
on, but it was
And
on the
so
pizza.
yeah, I got garlic butter sauce because I wanted garlic
As the
butter sauce on the
base.
side, and then the pizza comes and it's got garlic butter sauce as the
That's
marinara.
so disappointing when you order something and it's very wrong like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Very disappointing.
it's very sad.
It's the worst.
Okay, so the first one, uh, on this one is on Apple Podcasts. You know what's a banana split? These guys are some real knuckleheads, but they always follow Proto. Bob and Mel give off great NRE vibes, and Yip is a real cool guy. The late and great Fed Smoker would approve. These guys definitely don't get the stamp. If you are a World of Warcraft fan, try it out. Touch my camera through the fence. Suwu, shout out, Def Camp, and Melderon. I understood none of that, but thank you very
Yes,
much.
I didn't get
Uh,
any of it. I guess it's from a comedian's podcast is what chat told me, but I don't get it at all, but thank you for the 5 stars.
Yes,
Yes,
thank you.
as long as there's 5 stars, I guess you can say what
You can say
whatever
whatever
you
you
want,
want.
and I'll read it here, and
Ooga
Bob
booga
will thank you for
dooga.
it. The next one is on Warcraft Radio. Hi guys, thank you for an amazing WoW podcast. You keep me entertained with great news, features, and awesome guests. Bob and Mel, my situation is similar to yours with my partner playing the game with me, making WoW a great hobby that has brought us closer together, or farther apart in Bob and Mel's case. We have made amazing friends along the way, and this podcast makes me feel a part of something. The chemistry between the three of you is awesome and has always made me smile when Ryan roasts Bob. I'm so glad. That's my favorite part. In fact, it's the only reason I come every week.
I actually
My,
enjoy it too, which is weird.
my favorite story was about the warlocks having a chin wag and deciding to remove a curse on mobs and raid without mentioning it to anybody. That's still my favorite part too. Our guild came up just short this phase and couldn't quite get down KT and Vash before the nerf. It wasn't for lack of trying. We got so close with Vash. I rate all of you very highly, and please keep up the amazing work for the Alliance. Abu Glowin and Evelyn, Mirage Wasteway, Birmingham, England.
Oh man,
Wow.
yeah.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you, and yeah, still, it's gonna be years before I could ever live that down, if ever, right?
yeah, Bob. See, Bob doesn't mind getting roasted because he's confident in his warlock abilities. If he was bad at the game, I feel like it would be a little more upsetting
Right.
to get roasted, but it ends up working out just fine. So
That's why we
thank
don't
you.
roast a Yip very often, it just really
Oh,
eats
ouch.
at him.
I'm as the tank, my parts are out of um and then one more review here on Apple Podcasts. This is a 5-star review, which again, the only requirement. saw, saw there was a review drought, and I'm a long-term silent listener. I go back and forth between classic and retail. Haven't played too much TBC lately as I enjoy PvP the most, and the arena meta slash playstyle isn't as fun as retail's in my opinion. I love hearing about TBC and SOM and what everyone's up to. Looking forward to Wrath, Roki on Benediction, and Roki on Sargeras.
You know,
Benediction.
Thank you, Roki.
I've
Very
heard that
nice.
from a lot of PvP people that that retail PvP is just really good, and I don't know if it's true
Of
or
course
not.
it is. I'm sorry. Like I think that TBC Arena is fun, but it is like this is like the vanilla of Arena. In the
Yeah.
future, everyone has so much like a much more insane toolkit. I don't know if I personally would have more fun, but when you watch it, like it is another level of PvP that
Yeah.
if you're good at it, I can only imagine is like incredibly fun.
Well,
There's
it
so much more
confuses
movement.
me.
Like,
Yeah, I just
yeah,
don't know what anything is.
yeah, everyone has 8,000 abilities and like, like there's more like balance between classes, I think, like more classes have mortal strike abilities and stuff like that. So,
Ah.
I can see it being better for PvP, but just depends on what you like. I like the simplicity of TVC Arena.
Yeah,
You
and I
know?
like to be all like, fuck, you know what? We're playing a bad comp."
My
Yeah.
brother gave the same feedback though because he plays retail, and when he went to TBC, he was just like, "I just feel like I'm not doing anything because I don't have very many moves."
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I understand that. I mean, on retail, my easily double as many keybinds, maybe even more than that, 3 times as many keybinds. It's actually insane.
Yeah,
So
and you have
there's
to think this is the first expansion that had arena. It was new too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. This like I said, this is
WoW,
like the
so
vanilla arena, and they didn't, for the longest time, I feel like the meme has always been that WoW never cared about PvP, right? Like Blizzard never focused on PvP. So, I mean, over time, it just makes sense that it would get better for the people still playing too, of course. But Roki, thank you very much for your review. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. All right, guys. What's everybody been doing? Who wants to go first?
ooh, me. I'm
We
just
always
kidding.
fight for first when we do nothing.
I know. I'll just
Ah,
get it out of the way. So
Hasn't
I was
Mel
out
been
of
away?
town. Yeah, I was out of
Well,
town all week.
yeah, but
Um,
you played over the weekend before going out of town.
oh, that's fair. Oh no. Did we die
No, we didn't.
before
No.
last podcast or did we die
We
after last
we
podcast?
died before last podcast at level 35, and then now we're back
I
up to
wasn't
level
there for that
18.
conversation though.
Oh, you
That's
weren't.
okay.
How
You don't
was
need
it?
to.
Because I saw the clip and it was sad.
It was horrible. I get back to the computer and I just froze. And then I turned to cat and
And
froze again, and then turned to bear and
I
froze.
watched the clip and I was even more mad, right? Because Bob was AFK and I said, Bob, come here, come here, come here. And then I watch him come back to the computer and I just watch him go like this.
No, I said,
Damn.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And what
And then
sucks is, and
no,
then Mel didn't fear also. But what sucks is I thought my first thought was AoE taunt. But then it came in my head, I was like, I won't survive that. There's got to be something else I could do. And then when she died, I was like, well, for science, I'm going to walk in there. And it took them forever to kill me, like in
okay,
bear. So I
can we
could
just
have
talk about your
AoE taunted
thought
easy as
process with
hell.
that though? Can we just talk about your thought process with that? Because you didn't go in and taunt because there's no way you would have survived that, but you have to delete your character if I die. And if they're all beating on me,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
definitely
definitely.
gonna die.
Definitely. It was it was
I didn't
bad.
even provoke this out of you guys. You were just ready to talk about it again. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, it's sad because it was like you ran into like one mob and then suddenly there was 8 mobs around you. Like they were planning it. It reminded me of Shadow Labs, the Cabal assassins or whatever that pop out in the second room. They always wait for the perfect time. Like you
right.
They
When
just
you
do.
pull and boom, they pop out on the healer. You're like, oh
you
god.
like accidentally pull 2 packs and there's all the shadow assassins.
Yeah,
And like
exactly.
and like 35 is like just enough where it's like you're starting to feel really invested, I'm sure, right?
Oh
Right.
yeah, we
Yeah.
had lips and like we had got the swiftest pot like drop recipe.
Wow.
We had
We
all
had our
all our
elves.
all our professions were like super worked up. We had the Christmas elves, which we can't get back now.
I know. That's
Damn.
really the most depressing part about it.
I feel
I'm
for you
honest.
guys.
Yeah.
Rest in
But I
But
think
peace.
deservedly.
now we're level like 20.
18.
Yeah, close enough. Um, and it's like super depressing to like start another character after getting to 35, but we did it. Again, I'm getting really good at, some of the low level quests. I know exactly what to do.
Yeah,
Uh,
you do get faster and faster each time. I should know. I've done 5 rogues so far.
yeah,
Wow.
you're psycho, but that's fine. Um, but yeah, I mean it's been fun. We did Priest Druid again. I just think it's a good comp. I think the way we died was very like it was avoidable, but it wasn't like we just overpulled and couldn't handle it. So
Yeah, and we
we'll
could
get
have
there.
lived. I didn't realize how tough I was at that stage of the game. But oh well, you know what? We go again, as they say in the hardcore community. But
Roll it up.
all right, well, Ryan, what have you been up to? We haven't seen you for 2 weeks.
Oh, I don't know. What have I been doing? A little bit of PvP. I did switch to Druid, like I said, and I'm not done. I've been farming out Shadow Labs, had to get exalted for my ring. My special ring, I'm like 1 Shadow Labs away from that. I didn't bother to do it yet.
Your
The
special
Druid,
ring?
my the lower city ring, it has 20
Mm.
expertise on it, which is just insane for tanking.
But
Um,
you did get a little speedy, didn't you? You're going a little fast now, aren't you?
I had that 2 weeks ago, didn't I? Did I not have that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, no,
Mm-mm.
I heard in
Oh,
raid.
yeah, you're right, you're right. I had it I did have it last week, but I wasn't here to talk about it, I think, or maybe I
What
had
did
it
you
after
get?
last week.
No,
I
he did have it 2
finally
weeks ago
Uh-uh.
because yeah, he did because I
well,
heard him
no,
talk about it in raid,
I had
and I
it
didn't
last
raid last week.
I had it
Yeah, but he
I had
wasn't
it
on the
last week, but I wasn't
podcast.
on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I had it I
Okay.
haven't talked about it yet. I can fly fast now. I was
Nice.
handed 5,000 gold, which is how much I needed because I'm a broke boy. I was handed 5,000 gold from some guildies. Normally, so I've been turning this money down for a long time. Like, no, like just put it in the guild bank. 5,000 gold for so I can get into Tempest Keep faster when it's 2 feet away from the flight path. Like, I just don't need it. I'm not out in the open world of my warrior.
Let me
My
guess why you took it. Can I guess once you're done before you tell me why?
Okay, you can guess why, but okay, guess why, and I'll say.
I think it's because you can't get epic flight form on your druid without having epic flying.
Okay, yes, but why did I want
I
epic flying? Why did I
I
want
would
epic
have
flight?
guessed. Yeah, I
Bob's
would have
gonna
guessed
know, I
too.
feel like. Bob's gonna know immediately. But
Yeah.
but
Mount runs for Yip's favorite mount.
wow, no one knows me.
Oh,
This is
wow.
crazy. It is my
I'm
favorite mount. However, we have plenty of druids
can I
I can
field a
steal.
guess? Uh,
Ayle will deliver the correct answer, I'm sure.
you want to do Netherwing dailies.
Wow! No one knows the answer. This is
Oh, I thought he
crazy
got
to
it. I
me.
thought he got it.
I thought for sure you would know. You play a warrior, don't you?
You are you just gonna use it to farm?
I'm gonna use it because it's required to get the best idol in the game that delivers like 20 crit rating to the rest of your party with leader of the pack on. The only reason I was okay with taking money is because I provide a bigger raid benefit to my group. That's the only
Why do
reason
you
I
have
was
to have the
okay with it.
epic flying mount to get that?
That's the reward for the quest is the idol that like the idol of the Raven God is
Oh,
the idol you get for doing the quest, and
Gotcha.
it's the Bis bear tank and probably cat tank or cat druid idol. It provides like
oh,
20
that's
crit
funny.
rating on a top of your 5% crit, so delivers like 6% crit almost to the whole party. So while all those other things I will take advantage of and I like, I would not have taken 5,000 gold from people in order to do those things.
Listen,
Um,
if Kim can farm 5,000 gold from the auction house in 10 minutes, I feel like you should just be like, okay.
that might be an exaggeration. I actually got most of it though from actually, in a way, I'm reincarnated as our old bear tank because I think I got the money from Harry and or some of the money from Harry and some of it from Kim, and I believe it was from when Bushy quit. He gave them all of
Oh,
his money.
yeah.
I think I actually got our old bear tank's money to so I could
You
live on
got
through him.
Harry's inheritance?
I got
Wow.
Harry's inheritance. I have to pay it back. This is not
Ah,
a
Oh, it wasn't
gotcha.
a
gift.
gift, it was a
It's not a
loan.
gift, it's just a loan,
Oh,
but it
it's
honestly, you make a lot of money. I finally have
yeah.
fun questing, 1, because 'cause I'm not a warrior. Warriors are not cool. I'm sorry, like, even in my full DPS gear, it's like after 2 kills, I'm like, "Alright, got a first aid. Alright, first aiding myself.
Yep.
Alright, next thing." As a bear so I know cat's really cool, like, "Meow," you're, like, killing a lot, it's really cool.
Meow.
Um but bears are invincible. I can kill 10 things at once. Like, I can go do a quest, I just pull everything, I just swipe it all, and I auto heal for more of the damage than I take. I'm
Hey,
dodging
Ah,
Yip,
everything left and
Yip,
and they
right.
could
deal so
you
much damage, right?
And the bear does as much damage, if not more, than my, like, warrior in full
Yeah,
DPS
yeah, because
gear.
Prot Warrior doesn't do any damage at all. Like if you have enough block, you don't take much, but
Yeah,
as a
there's no
bear, you
point.
just kill everything too, right?
Yeah,
I
you
don't think it's
kill,
until
you
Wrath
heal.
when warriors get good
um,
damage as Prot.
can I
And
pause you here for a second, Yip? Because I need you to be very careful because I'm leveling a hardcore character with Bob's bear, and
Mhm.
I need you not to inflate his confidence on
Oh,
how much the
let's
bear
make
can
a
do.
I'm a TBC bear.
Okay,
Let's make
okay,
sure we understand that.
thank you.
I'm a classic The Burning Crusade bear, not a
Just
vanilla bear.
just to clarify.
I don't
Very,
know.
very different.
I'm like you get pretty beefy,
This bear's
even in
burning.
vanilla too.
Yeah, I just, I'm not an expert on vanilla bears. But yeah, I'm honestly the epic flyer going from slow flying to an instant cast into epic flying is like I've unlocked the real game. It's what have I been doing? But yeah,
Now
so like
it
I said, questing is incredible now. Like it's you
that's
just
why we
fly
would
through 'em.
always call you crazy is because 'cause we're like, once you get it, like, then it feels like you're swimming on the slow flyer.
It's a whole new world.
Sure, but
A new
I still
fantastic
wouldn't
point
put
of
5
view.
grand on it. If it wasn't for the raid benefit, 5 grand. I don't know. I don't see it
Ah.
being worthwhile. Because even still, like, what did I quest for like 2 days? And I'm like, oh, it's so fun now. But it's
It's so fun, I'm not gonna do it anymore, though.
yeah. I mean, I still probably make more money. Like I have enchanting on my druid now, so I can get the 4 stats to rings next phase,
Mm.
and I make more money just like doing a dungeon. I feel like and taking all the blues, just like disenchanting
Fair.
everything, taking whatever I want. I wish I had a. I need sure-footed. I need something that I can steal nethers on my druid and sell because that would
There
be
you
like
go.
really, really good
Yeah.
money. But right now I'm jewel crafting, enchanting with nothing to use nethers on.
Mm.
I was on my it was, like, a couple months ago, I was on my, main getting ready for raid, and Bob had left, and he was like, "We have to do it on stream." And I was like, "Fine." And I, like, opened my bank on stream, and I was like, "Oh god, everybody's gonna see all of my hoarding in my bank because I just put things in my bank to get them out of my bags to give me bag space sometimes, right? So then I've got, like, Magcar bread in the bank, and I'm like, "I know that doesn't need to be in the bank. I know I don't need to
I'm
save
the
that."
same
It
way.
was just
It's
like
like
a
when a
hurry,
visitor
like yeah,
it's
and
like getting a
it's
visitor
so
over to
bad.
your house and you haven't cleaned. You're like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah.
this is
Like, "Don't
awkward."
open that closet. That's not the bathroom. Trust me, you don't wanna go in there." Yeah. But I have so much money in my bank on items
Oh,
that are
it's
probably gonna
nuts.
depreciate in a lot of value here pretty soon, and that's just kinda sad, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
Mail them to me. I'll handle that.
I keep wanting to go through and parse through her stuff, but too busy doing other things, I guess.
Well, that's why I haven't sold it because 'cause I'm too busy, like, doing other things that I don't wanna take the time to figure out, like, what do I need? What do I not need? What can I sell? What can I disenchant? It's not it's not a priority.
Well, as for me, I've just been doing hardcore, like streaming it pretty almost every day. I unfortunately have no sad tales to tell you this week. I am finally out of the shadow zone. My first rogue hit 34, second 29, third 18, fourth 8, and now is these shadow zones when you're trying to like catch up to where you were before and you're being very careless and trying to rush but now my rogue is up to level 38 and a half and I'm close to my mount and feeling good. But the game's gotten easier and harder all at the same time at this level because you get a lot more moves and a lot more tools. But so I was talking about with Yip and the pre-show, the enemies get a lot more tools too, and get like 5-second stuns and knockdowns and crazy poisons that last for a long time, crazy curses and all these things. Poisons make vanish impossible, and then everything like there's lots of different stuff that could go wrong. So we're hoping to keep it going, but you never know. But yeah, that's all I've been doing.
Can I talk about the fact that Winky said that we were both in the shadow zone because we died on our duo, and I think he was overgeneralizing Bob's deaths to our deaths.
Maybe a
Gonna
little
throw
bit.
that out there.
All right, well, Ayle, we haven't talked to you in a while. What have you been up to? You're no longer streaming, right?
No, I haven't streamed in a while. Quite a while.
I think
We've
I'm
been
still subbed to you, dang it.
uh-oh. I might have to go live again, I guess. I've been thinking about maybe doing a little bit of it. I've been mainly doing PvP and arena. Not a whole lot outside of that. I didn't pick up SOM. I actually started a new job, so I've been really busy with that, and didn't really have the time to level a classic character, unfortunately. So doing our 5 team with Def Camp and Mel. We didn't push for Gladiator this season. where last season we got pretty close. So we were just doing that casually. We did get up to 2K to get our shoulders, which was nice. And then besides that, pretty much just raiding. And we've been trying to get into the PTR, but it's been down most of our raid nights. And then this week it was actually problematic as well because there was long login queues. So we didn't really get to test too much of the PTR at all. We did, I think, 5 bosses in BT, and that was it. So we're going in more prepared than we were last year, but pretty much totally blind as far as Hyjal is concerned.
Well, I've seen Naismith was on the show last week, and he said he randomly got into a pug, I think BT with you.
Yep, that was the one. And yep, I think he was in there playing Ellie Shaman, and that's the only testing / practice we were able to do. So
The PTR dates made it like impossible for us to
Yeah.
get together as a guild to do it. We were going to go last night and they shut it down like right before that day as we were gonna go do it. We had the day reserved and everything, and a bunch of people downloaded it. It's been kind of rough.
yeah, it was pretty unfortunate. We wanted to do it to just kind of get some practice with the raid as well, just so we could do better in T6. But
Yeah.
didn't happen. It was just
Now
awkward
you gotta
dates.
go in
So
blind.
We took
Yeah.
a while to finish 10 of 10 this tier. I think we finished the same week as you guys, but yeah, it just would be nice to get like trash packs down a little bit quicker. Just like having a head start in that first week makes a huge difference. It feels like, but the PTR
Yeah.
was up and down like crazy, so there was not much you can do there.
Any thoughts on the PTR and the content, Ale? What I've been hearing is that, like, if you cleared Vash and KT pre-nerf, like, this is gonna be a pretty easy, um, tier for you.
Yeah, most of the trash felt pretty easy, and like we only were able to do the first 5 bosses, but we were able to do them all within like a couple hours, right? So at least for the first few, it was pretty easy seemingly. Um, we didn't get to the end bosses, so we heard that basically Archimonde and Council and Illidan are more challenging than the previous tier, but the progression is flatter. So like it's more challenging, but it isn't harder progression. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does not.
It does not. So like like for example with KT, there was everybody had to learn how to do like 5 different things in every phase
Oh,
pretty
okay.
much. Like can't stand here, don't get feared here, like don't get too close on this, don't pull aggro in this phase. You know what I
Right.
mean? Where this one it's like the roles of each player are simpler, but it's a more like demanding phase as far as like DPS and healing and things like that, right? Like the
Got
challenge
it.
is in the fight itself, not in each player, knowing
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Makes sense.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all I've got for what I've been doing lately. Do you have anything you wanted to talk about? Raid progression or anything?
Raid, yeah, I don't know. I've been a bear. Let's go through it. Let's think.
Have you
Raid,
though?
raid's really easy.
Have you been a bear the whole time? Yep.
You know, it's
Is the-
funny to hear this from people when I didn't even cause a wipe by turning into a cat. You know, imagine clearing everything with a new tank who just switched roles. I turned into a cat and we didn't wipe. Now, if we had wiped, I'd feel worse about it. I wasn't here to defend myself, but
Mm.
as the main tank, I feel I'm allowed to
Oh
make
my
as
god.
many mistakes as I'd like as long as we don't wipe. Those are my
Is that the same? Do I get the same privilege as the main tank healer? I can
um
make as many mistakes as I want as long as we don't wipe, so you can die as many times as I
yeah, if
find
we don't if
necessary
well,
if we don't wipe.
on my bear, more so. When I was like that's the other thing about switching to bear that I like, is when I was playing my warrior, I got into parse, like, my brain was in parse mode so hard. I'm still right all the time, so I'm not gonna retroactively unyell at healers or anything, but, like, the only enjoyment in playing my warrior was, like, I need to improve this week, so when I died, it was like, "Okay, well, I'm pretty frustrated now." that I died to something really dumb when this is like we're so far in. But on my druid now, I have such low expectations for myself. I can turn into a cat and still feel awesome. I'm like, whatever. Who cares? So that's kind of nice. Like my because I'm going bear as like like a selfless, let's help the raid. I give a better buff than my warrior does.
Get a
Right now
free
it's
yeah.
pretty nice
mount
for
and
fun. Yeah, free mount, like, yes, I'm a druid. Um, but yeah, I mean, druids are cool. I don't know. Everything is so much easier on a bear, and raid right now is really easy. The fact that I could switch in all phase one gear like seamlessly is like a little bit upsetting almost.
I was
But
gonna say, I feel like that's kind of depressing at the same time.
I keep thinking, I'm like, I look at my bear parses, like they're pretty good. I'm happy with my bear parses with the gear that I have. But then I look, I look at KT and I'm like, why are my bear KT parses so good? It's kind of crazy.
Hmm.
And we had I had a 95 on Tuesday, and we literally had like 10 people alive for the last like half of the fight. And I was like, how is it possible? And then I realized it's because there's no bears tank KT. I'm the only psycho. It's because you don't have a shield to absorb a pyroblast, so it's like kind of silly to do it that way. But because he's so nerfed right now, it doesn't really matter at all. But like I can't live through a pyroblast. So on Tuesday I actually ate a pyroblast. Because like I
Did you stay in
actually
bear form?
I did stay in bear form.
Good job.
Uh,
Good
I now on important fights I now unbind
job.
Dang.
cat. But
Yep.
it's because listen, there's no button on warrior that's like, hey, you take off all your gear and die
You
button.
die now.
Yeah, I can pop wreck on fights and not die. I can go berserker, pop wreck or whatever. And when you switch to cat, if you get hit, it's a little bit different.
Like an
So
insta.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
mind
I
if I
guess.
ask,
Oh, go ahead.
why did you end up switching to bear? Is it just for raiding?
just for rating, just for
Right.
rating. You know,
Because warrior tanks kind of become less good, right?
yeah, warrior tanks become less good. You don't provide leader of the pack to a group, which is like you're already I don't want to say like gimping your raid, but you're already kind of gimping that group if you're bringing just like a battle shot to the group or if you're like in the healer group. So I wanted to provide that to people. And then yeah, it's just like it's like I don't think I would have a problem this tier with my warrior, but I am afraid of problems in Sunwell with my warrior, so I'd rather make the switch now and like get comfortable on druid, get gear up on druid, and then just like druid for the rest of the phase. I was down to be a warrior, but I don't know, like looking at the numbers, it just made Druid just seems better. And
Yeah, I don't know if you experienced it as well, but the longer in the tier it went, the less I was able to hold aggro, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like as people got better gear, I found threat started to become a real problem for me.
I wasn't having a ton of threat problems, but I was gearing in pretty ridiculous ways in order to not have threat problems sometimes. And like, yeah, like it definitely gets worse as time goes on, as everybody gears up, and then as people get more comfortable with fights or comfortable with raids or like Leo Theris, for instance, are everyone just goes crazy now on him. Like they just don't care anymore now that everything's easy. So it's like it's like way harder when everyone isn't being like super careful not to pull. And I think with Warrior, I don't know, bears just feel so much better right now. The threat you can be so much. The important thing is you can be really tanky and have a lot of threat. So on fights like Moragrim, my warrior always struggled because it's like if I wear high mitigation,
Yep.
that first like 30 seconds, and then our raid leader is insane. So like it's if when I'm at like 10k threat, which is not that much threat, he'll be like pop hero, and I'm like oh god, please, oh god. Like and as soon as we didn't have warriors for the longest time, so like I never had threat issues really. And then once we picked up warriors, I was like oh god, like they're they're like pulling. They're getting
We had 2 warriors in there for, like, I don't know, a couple weeks, and it was, like, the first week they were in there, they were just, like it was like, "Doo, doo, doo, dead. Doo, 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 dead." Like,
they're like
all of them.
Flat.
sweeping strikes, whirlwind on like first GCD. It's like oh, but even it's like trash is whatever. That's like funny. It was just like it was the Morrigan. There's always like a moment that I remember. So my warrior, I was like feeling kind of like good on. I was like, warriors, simple, I have it figured out pretty easily. Um, and then I was the second tank on Gruul. I lost threat to the bear, our bear off tank, and then Fabulous, our Ret Paladin, ended up, because Ret Paladins don't have like a threat drop, ended up second threat and was taking like the Gruul hateful strikes. And that was when I was like, okay, time to get a lot better at warrior, because this was really frustrating. And I just
Yeah,
felt that with Morrigram. Like, we popped hero early, and I just could not stay ahead of a warrior, and he had to slow down. And I was like, man, like, what am I doing here? Like, I feel like bear will just be better. And I don't know. I have a personality where if I'm gonna feel like I'm not doing the most that I can, when I did level a druid already. Like, I'd leveled a druid for this reason already. If I hadn't already
right,
done that, I don't think I'd make the switch, but like, I knew that this day might come.
right.
And I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I think I'm totally fine. I've been taking like rests and breaks, but my uh I was feeling some symptoms of carpal tunnel, and I was like, there's gonna be less buttons as well. That might be a good idea. Like, hitting shield block all raid is like extra stress, and I have a really not dumb shield block button, but like, it probably is not good for my wrist with how much you have to hit it and stuff. So I was like, whatever, fair time.
You gotta make sure stretch your wrists, shake them out. Like that's the biggest thing. You just don't want to hold your hands in the same spot the entire time.
Yeah, and I was playing a lot of games. You raid for 3 hours, and if you keep gaming after that, that's a long time for your wrist to be activated. But yeah, I'm a
Uh,
druid now.
Tell me
Activated.
about it. I've been streaming for like sometimes 16 hours straight.
Yeah, you don't even take a break after you die. You're like, here we go again.
Oh
Damn.
man. Yeah, so Ayle, I heard you're going to DPS now instead of tanking.
Yeah, so I'd actually started leveling a druid as well. Uh, just, pretty much for this and for Sunwell, but we ended up recruiting another feral. So because I did DPS in Classic, I don't mind doing that role. And we did have an Arms Warrior, and they would rather be Fury, so I'm going to be the new Arms Warrior for us.
Oh, well, that's nice
How
of
do you
you.
feel about that?
So should be fun.
Are you
I
excited?
I would have done that too. If
I'm pumped.
if we had somebody who wanted to tank, I think that I would have maybe done the same thing with my warrior, because my warrior's geared for DPS, like really geared.
Yeah,
So like, it would have been
nice.
totally fine to switch, but there's no one else who like I feel like is down to fully main tank that I'm like, this person wants to do this. So um I was like, it's bear time. But being like Fury off tank or Arms Warrior, I think would be probably pretty fun too. Warrior's pretty solid.
Nobody
Nice.
asked me if I wanted to main tank. I totally would have taken that on.
Sorry, there are other requirements other than desire in my mind as well too.
Oh,
A li- but
okay.
Oh man. All right, well, let's move into the news. All right, so Blizzard adds more context about the pre-nerf stuff. Now, we talked about this last week, like basically they're just like saying that I mean, they're basically saying the same thing. Is there anything you guys wanted to pull out of this, or like they basically the biggest thing that they say in this is that um they weren't vocal with us about the changes. And yeah, duh, we know that. Like, but they claim that they're going to do better going forward in letting us know when things are happening, when things are going to be changed to the nerfed version. And this is, of course, when Sunwell comes out, because there is no pre-nerf for Tier 6. But they're just saying they're going to be better in Sunwell. So we'll wait and see if that's the case.
Yeah, I think the main problem with this is that they told people they're doing one thing and then they did another, wasn't it? Because they were going to do slightly less nerfs, and then they put in the full
well,
Mm-hmm.
end patch nerfs.
if you listen to Warcraft Reloaded, you'd know that I called this for a long time. uh,
You did.
because the wording in their initial post. So I do agree that they did not explicitly say what was going on, but their announcement of the date, which was like 2 or 3 weeks before the nerfs came out, they said we'll be putting in the finalized nerfs, and I was like, this is gonna be the 2.4.3 version of these boss fights. It's not gonna be like the nerfs they said before, because they didn't say we're gonna put the nerfs in before. We're gonna put the final nerfs in. So I thought that they were saying that, but they really did not make it explicit at all.
Mm.
And again, I think everybody agrees that like they dumbed the content down to just the worst level possible. Um,
Yeah.
It's
but
honestly like it's a little rough at times because it's just like I'm speaking from a warlock's perspective, but like everything dies so fast. Like like any AOE stuff, like you're barely getting a couple seeds out and then it's done. Like and on
Yep.
Moral Grim now, you get like one seed out if you're lucky.
Well, it's interesting to me because they say that they wanted to unlock the tier or the nerfs a little bit earlier so that people could get attuned for tier 6 over the holidays. And don't you just have to do the first boss to
to
get
do the
attuned?
end bosses. You have
Yeah.
to in order to get attuned for
Oh,
Hyjal, you need the vials of eternity or whatever from the end bosses.
got it.
Yeah,
I didn't remember that part. But at the
that's
same
why
time,
I think
like, okay, that's cool. But they could have just gotten attuned the first week with the nerfs, in my opinion. But whatever. It's fine.
yeah, I mean, I think everyone, I don't know. The bosses were too hard. I think that some nerf made sense. Their original nerfs, if they hadn't just tried to rush them out, I think would have been fine. When they were originally just going to, well, they were going to make a big KT nerf. That was always going to come. But the Vash nerf was actually much smaller. It
Right.
was like you could CC persuasion and stuff like that. It was a pretty small nerf. But I think
Yeah,
that
and
would have
it's a
been
small
good.
nerf that still
All
would
they
have
had
been good. It still would have
all they had to
like
do was not
taken.
say, "Hey, this Tuesday we're doing it." They just had to be like, "Hey, in 3 weeks, we know it's early, but
Right.
we're nerfing the end bosses." Instead, they were like, "We're nerfing the end bosses this week," and everyone was like, "No." And they're like, "Fine, we'll nerf everything in 6 weeks." Like,
Yeah, well, the Vash nerf would have been a actual good nerf because it would have put the difficulty into your raid's hands. Like you would be able to CC, and that's like something you could do. Whereas before it was just like, uh, if the wrong people get CC'd, or if the wrong people get mind controlled, might be effed.
although I don't think that's why people were wiping. I think
Yeah.
that guilds that were struggling with Vash were not like, "That darn mind control."
Yeah.
It has to be
I
the toxic
really
people
I don't
for
know.
enjoyed
sure.
Early on,
I
we
really
had
enjoyed them
some.
being hard. I like, it made it very rewarding to me, I
Yeah.
feel like,
Yeah, we
going
feel the
through the
same way.
content, and I don't feel like I would have enjoyed doing this like we did MC, right? Like, just
Mhm.
over and over on farm every single week for these last few months, like, that just would have been very redundant to me, right? Kara got very boring very quickly because it was easy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we like lost half of our raid just to not paying attention on Vash. We still killed her. It was just like,
Mhm.
oh,
Oh,
okay,
Vash is
well this
so easy now. It's
yeah.
like,
Oh,
yeah,
Like you
I don't
can't
know.
even get a
Good.
Doom off in stage 1 because she dies or she goes down to 70% in like literally
yeah.
40 seconds or
HP
so.
nerf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just doesn't, I don't know, it's too much. But again, they did try to do a minor nerf at first that got like backlash. It's like it was a pretty weird situation, but it does sound like they regret the way that it kind of came out. But
Yeah.
I do kind of agree with some what they were trying to do. Like slight nerfs to the end bosses would have been good. This whole 2.4.3 early nerf stuff has been kind of crazy, but we're a couple weeks away. It's not like we're having a content drought like we did in vanilla, where it's like, oh, you're supposed to do Blackwing Lair for 9 months. So
But think if it was like this when it opened,
oh, yeah. Oh,
right?
I'm glad it started hard. I
Yeah,
think most people should be happy it started hard. Even if you didn't get it down, it's like it's still cool that
you're
not everyone could
progressing.
get it down at first. Yeah, like
Yeah.
having
But I
some
also
level of
I
progression.
also feel like I understand why they didn't want the small nerfs, right? Because if you're in the middle of progression, like, think if we had been, like, in the middle of progression and we were really close, but, like, not close enough to downing Vash or KT, and then they're like, "Hey, we're just gonna nerf it," and you're like, "No, I think we could have done it." You know what I mean? Like that
No,
feels
definitely,
bad.
definitely. All right. Well, in the next bit of news, we've got the Arena Season 2 ended, and now Arena Season 1 gear is available for honor points. Season 2 gear is sold at a discounted rate at vendors at Area 52. And then Season 3 gear will become available next week when it starts. Do you guys have any thoughts? Like, you guys have been PvPing a lot. Like, have any
Well, I
thoughts
think
on this?
one big thing to note too is that it's no longer gated by rating
Well, yeah.
anymore. The
Oh, yeah,
season
yeah.
2
Well, that was
gear.
the same as yeah, it was the same. Sorry, I should
The
have mentioned
costs
that.
are low. The costs feel very low
Really?
for season 1 gear. I mean, yeah, like you can get a season 1 chest for 10,000 honor when it costs like 20,000 honor to get boots, your off-piece boots. It feels like the scaling is off, but I guess it doesn't matter that much. They are like it is good to have an
Well,
entry level way for people to get in,
but
but
the
it's
off
still
pieces are still like the newest pieces. They aren't the pieces
yeah,
that
but they're off pieces, so the benefit they provide is much lower
you
than a
think.
piece like chests or pants. Just the amount of stats that are on off pieces is smaller than the amount of stats that are on main pieces.
Yeah, but
Uh,
each season they get like they get
I listen,
better
I hear you, but 6,000 6,000 honor, like,
for
for gloves,
gloves.
like, I don't know, it's just low, but it's still a
I
lot of
f-
time, so it
I
doesn't
feel
really matter.
like that's what the off pieces should cost is 10K, 6K. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like the
that's
off
how
pieces should cost 2 and 3K,
I'm just
and the
bitter because
main
of how
pieces
much
are the
honor I need.
yeah.
yeah, I just still think that like stuff costs too much honor wise. Like the honor grind is too much. They say then no one will play. BS. I would play with two other characters if it didn't take, you know, 90 hours to get all of your off pieces each season, like it'd be a very different thing.
Yeah, it's still like, 5 hours of honor grinding per piece, which is like
Insane.
a
Yeah,
lot
it's pretty
still.
rough to play an alt.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, do you feel like you're falling behind on your main as well?
I fell far behind on my alt, and now I'm gonna fall behind on my warrior. Like I fell behind on my druid, and now I'm gonna fall behind on my warrior, just because it's far too much honor to be grinding.
One vote.
I don't even know how I'm gonna catch up on my druid right now. I still need like a lot more honor and marks, but yeah, the grind is real. I don't know. It's just so long.
Yeah, I don't understand why they've had the feedback from everybody trying to like point them in the right direction, but they just seem to be stuck on nope, we're gonna make this extremely grueling and long. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
They don't even have the no changes excuse anymore, right? I feel like if this was classic, they'd be like, "Hey, no changes. You guys asked for it. We're doing it."
Yeah, I mean, I want to reiterate my point. I don't think that these PvP pieces cost too little. Like, oh, 10,000, that's too easy to get. I just think compared to the off pieces,
Yeah,
they cost too little. I think everything costs too much. I think the grind is
right.
far too long on any individual piece. I think you should
Even
be able to
for
get
arena.
Hmm.
yeah, arena, it just depends on your rating. That's the problem with that stupid curve because some people can get, 1,200 arena points a week and then it matches. It makes more sense that way. But when you're getting like 350 arena points a week, you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, and see, like I'm really privileged by this because our fives team has done really well. So I've always had all my pieces and then 5,000 points at the end of the season that convert into 50,000 honor. So I don't have to farm as much honor for the next season, right? I just do a daily BG and get 25K over the course of the season casually. And then when the season ends, boom, I'm topped up. I have my full 75K. That gets you, I think, almost all your pieces.
Yeah,
And
you need
then you're
like
good.
78K for all the
Jeez, dude,
Yeah.
you
pieces.
gotta be jealous as hell right now. Oh my god.
Yeah, so like everybody's like, "Oh, it's too hard. It's so difficult." And like I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking
You're like,
about.
oh
It's fine for
yeah.
me.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, it's so hard. Okay, yeah,
how's
okay.
it
That's what
how's
I
it
mean
like
about the
over there in privilege land?
I mean, not my
yeah.
paladin, but you know.
Yeah.
I
So
think
what you're
that's because your
saying is
paladin was on
get
our
good,
5's
Bob.
team.
Yeah.
So what you're telling
Yeah.
us is just get good,
I mean,
loser.
the thing is too, I don't know. The things I hate about this are also things I like about this. It's annoying how long it takes, but something I've always liked about TBC is that PvP has had its own progression. Like if you're a PvPer, there's plenty for you to do
Yep.
because of how
True.
long the grind is. You actually have stuff to do. The annoying thing is like when you're a PvEer and you're like, I want the off pieces for PvE, or like I also want a PvP on the side. The grind is far too long for that. But I think the grind makes sense if you're like, I'm a PvP player who 80% PvPs, 20% PvEs. Like you do
Well, and
want to
maybe
bring
that's the
it into
difference,
play.
right? Like it's geared towards picking one or the other as your main like
Thing
preference,
that you do.
unless
Yeah.
you're like really good like Ayle and
Yeah,
he
but
doesn't have to pick. But
it doesn't scale though, because PvE you can go, you know, 5 hours a week, and you can be getting possibly a piece every week, especially if you're just starting out, like, and maybe even more than a piece every week, like most of the time, and so it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like,
I mean, you can get a piece more than a piece every week in
yeah,
PvP.
oh, yeah, but you're playing more than 5 hours to do that, though.
Yeah, but I mean, sure, but I don't know why PvP and PvE has to take the same amount of time, you know? I feel like that's an arbitrary comparison.
Well, I think
Like if
that's
you keep
why
them
they did
separate
it.
entirely.
I think that's why they did it like that in the beginning, is because it was comparable, because people were spending 4 and 5 nights a week in the different, like content. So
I
I don't
mean,
know.
seeing the cost of a PvP item in Honor and getting out of a BG that just took you like 20 minutes and seeing how much honor you got, I feel like you just can't look at it. Like you just
Yeah,
have
the
to
X
go. You just have to like play, and then look at it like every like 10 games or something. Because if you look at it after one, you're just gonna be like,
Well,
yeah, nope,
yeah,
the
well,
nope.
I can tell you this. I used farm log, so I could tell how much honor per hour I was doing, and the top honor per hour was doing Altric Valley, and the best I was getting was, I mean, the absolute best I was getting was like 15 to 1800 honor per hour, but normally 1200 honor per hour. So if you're talking an item that's 10K, that's 8 hours. Like, that's
Yep.
nuts.
Yeah, that's a work day.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I still
And
think
some people can't PvP during their workday.
Well, I think that they're I think that their thought, this is where Blizzard went wrong here, and why we have this issue. Blizzard thought that we would enjoy doing battlegrounds. So in their head, the gear is like a byproduct of doing the activity you enjoy, but we all begrudgingly do BGs in order to get the honor and marks.
well,
But I
But
let,
think
see,
that
let
like,
me
I
turn that
feel
around
like
on
I
you. Let me
would
turn
enjoy I feel like I would enjoy BGs if I got more honor for them because I enjoyed my 20-minute game that I just played. And then I looked at my honor and I was like, well, yep,
yeah, but see, you want a
that's too
reward.
much.
let me turn
It's not
that
even that
around
I
on
want
you
a
though.
reward. Hold on. It's not even that I want a reward. It's just that I'm sitting there thinking I need 10,000 honor to get this piece to get better so I don't die to every stupid warrior that approaches me in the battleground. And that's going to take me 9 hours of these battlegrounds, and they're not that fun. Like,
You're basically hitting
Right.
on
You
what I
said
was gonna say though. Like, I think the best time to play BGs is when you have all the gear and you're the absolute most powerful that you can be. Like at the end
well,
of
that's just being a
Classic,
bully.
it was glorious doing PvP. We were having so much fun because you're not working towards anything. You're not getting anything out of it. Like, you're just the max you can be, the toughest you can be, and you're getting to actually have fun. Where, like, when the grind up to it, you're just kind of getting beat on, and it's not a lot of fun. You know what I mean? So that's the problem.
Honestly, I think that's the inherent problem in like gear-based scaling, right? Like if everybody was at the same level in a battleground, I think people would play it for fun.
you're right. We should normalize eye level when we get into battlegrounds, guys.
I'm not saying that. No. I'm not promoting
Reset!
that. I'm just saying you're like the whole goal of Battlegrounds is to get better gear to do better in the battleground. And when you
What I'm
put
saying
that
is that's
goal
not
so far out of reach.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying is that Blizzard that's not what Blizzard had in mind when they made this grind. That's what I'm trying to say is they didn't say people go into BGs to get gear. Because think about vanilla. No one went and did a battleground expecting to get a piece of gear. Like, that isn't how it worked in vanilla. You would
Yeah.
grind and grind for 18 hours a day, and maybe you'll get the rank where you're allowed to purchase some of the gear, right? Like,
Yeah, and
this is
only
actually
only
much
like
more
really psycho
forgiving.
people did that.
Exactly. So
The
this is
difference
actually
is
much more
now
forgiving.
difference is now we've been doing these battlegrounds for 15 years, right? Like
Oh,
back in the day, you'd do them like people would do them all more for like for fun too, right?
I mean,
That's what
that's
I'm
yeah.
the
trying to
whole
say.
reason
Like
that I did them back in
it
the
was
day.
newer, and you'd play them, and you get maybe get a reward. But yeah, now like people are just like, this isn't fun. I'm grinding this. Like
Yeah, everyone's got a job. They don't they're not coming home from
Yeah.
school to grind BGs.
but like we've had a lot of fun. It's like we'll usually play fives, and then afterwards we'll go to a BG with our fives team together once we're done our like session, just for fun. And like it's really fun for us because we just go around like crushing everybody. But
Yeah, because you have all
like
your arena gear.
yeah, and so like we just like we have fun. But besides that, I think most of the people aren't playing it because they like BGs. They're playing it because they're trying to achieve a goal, right? Which is
Which
like the big
makes it
difference.
Yeah, which makes it less fun for the people that actually want to do the BGs because you have people jumping in that aren't gonna respec. Don't get me started on dual spec again. But like they're not gonna
Oh
respec.
God.
They're a crappy spec and they're barely geared. And you're like, you get in there and
Well,
you're
they
like,
don't even care if they win
great.
or lose. They're just kind of like, whatever. I'm here. I'm gonna move around. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna do this. But it's like people aren't really actually working together to win a lot of times. And I think pre-mate, like getting your friends together to do BGs is a lot of fun, right? Like it's fun to like do that. It's a little harder, but I think that is fun.
I agree. I don't want to say I don't have fun doing BGs. I just think that the player base is in a much different
Yeah.
mindset than when this like
Different
content was
stage of our
Yeah.
created this way.
lives.
Yeah, like the content was created. I feel like, hey, you do BGs, and then as a byproduct, you get gear. But now we
Yeah.
BG to get gear exclusively. I mean, we obviously BG to get gear back in the day, as well. But I just feel like I don't know. It was a little bit different, like coming home from school, and then I wanted to just BG all night with my
Yeah, I
friends,
mean,
and
I
then
think
that
the
was just what we did.
majority right, the majority of people playing Classic played the actual TBC,
Yeah, like we did it
right?
already.
So let's be real. We're
Mhm.
15 years older, we have different lives, like, nobody was 2 years old playing Classic.
Yeah, and we min max now. Like I don't like I understand that it's like a player based problem that we all want the best stuff possible at all times. But that's just how like player bases work in video games now. Everybody wants to min max in every game. So when min maxing means like spending this huge grind doing PvP, like they can reduce it. And I don't think anybody I don't know who you get complaints from except from people who already got the gear themselves. That would be the biggest thing.
Right.
But
It's like when they talk about forgiving student loans, and all the people that have already paid off all their student loans are like, "What?" And the
yeah,
people who haven't are like, "Hell yeah. That sounds great."
yeah, exactly.
Sorry. I just saw something else. Oh, all right. So the next bit of news is a lot of bit of news. It's basically they came out and said that the arena season is going to start next week, so only 1 week off of arena. So January 17th, the new PvP season starts. Warlocks will be able to take part in a new quest to summon a variant succubus pet called the Incubus. Oh boy. Um, at the start of the PvP season, arena season gear will be available in Shet and Nagrand. And then season 2 gear will become available at a discount, which I think it already is at that discount, but maybe it's gonna get cheaper. I don't know. So the new raids come out: Black Temple and Hyjal. This brings in the epic gems. This brings in the the Netherwing daily quests, which as an Alliance on White Mane we probably can't partake in, but we'll be cheering you guys on that can. Something new is Serpent Shrine Cavern and Tempest Keep loot. Now all the bosses are going to drop a total of 3 tokens for tier sets. What do you guys think about this?
Good.
You think it's
Sounds
good?
good, but who's gonna do it?
I mean, we might go back and do Vash. I could see maybe off night KTs, but I mean, I don't know about going
Yeah, I
back and
mean,
doing the whole place.
we have
Wait.
one vestment and the guy quit, so like we're
Wow.
hurting on Vash gear.
We
Where
have
are
like
we?
5 vestments.
Where
Yeah,
are we
I
in
could
these
still
tabs?
use my
I can't
belt.
find us.
I don't know if we have any belts actually, so yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, we have 1 belt on our cat druid. Trying to get that on my bear druid, and then we can stop going to Vash forever.
We
After that, who cares?
we still don't have the pattern for Belt of Blasting.
True. We
Really?
do not.
Wow.
And we basically don't have the red battle belt either because I have it on my warrior and I switched.
Wow.
I had
There
to
we
bring
go.
my warrior in to get it for our new warrior, so that I could make it for him to like come in on trash PvP spec for it.
Yeah, it's like luckily Kim, our guild banker, worked out a deal with another guild to make some of the main raiders a Belt of Blasting, or else I wouldn't have it, and lots of us wouldn't have it. So
Hmm.
we lucked
Yep.
out there. But yeah, it's so that's what they're gonna do. They're also I don't know where it is, but I read it earlier. They're also gonna drop 3 tokens for like Gruul and Mag. So that's also a thing. Then they got the attunements in. I'm not really going to go over all the steps for the attunements. It'll be in the patch notes. But is there anything in here you guys wanted to hit on? Anybody planning on doing the Netherwing Drake?
Yeah, in
Grind?
6 months when everyone's gone, or maybe in Wrath of the Lich King. It's gonna be hell on our server.
True.
Ale, you?
I mean, I I don't think I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be so packed, I'm sure, in the server. We ended up transferring to Fairlena, and now that's all Horde. So I mean, I don't know if I want to do it there
That's
either.
such a bummer.
Yeah, it is. We got maybe a week of like a little bit of a faction, but yeah, still haven't been able to do Hala ever, and I'm really concerned about it because I'm hoping. I mean, this is like on a total different tangent, but like if they do Wrath, I don't want Wintergrass to be a snooze, you know. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
that's a big problem that we've been thinking about as well.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like I feel like the answer to the problem was a year ago. And the solution to the problem now is
Yeah,
very
they've made multiple fuck ups to get us to where we're at now, and now they're like, "Hey, let's talk about it." I'm not going to get back into it because I went on a huge rant about it last week and how like now you want to talk about it after you've screwed everything up. Like, great, but yeah, we're gonna stay positive. And something that is positive, and I'm really excited to get you guys' thoughts on this, is there is some arena tweaks in season 3. And I think these are good. Okay, so the first the I'm gonna go through them and then you can grab whichever one you guys want to talk about. So the first one is um they're trying to make the queues shorter, so they're gonna increase the range in which you can go up against somebody in arena. And I'm assuming the numbers. I'm hoping they don't say that here, but I'm hoping the numbers match up. Like if you beat this team that's that you wouldn't have been queued against before because they're like a little bit higher. I'm hoping you win more points and lose less points if you lose to them. But there's no.
I mean, of course it'll be that way.
I'm
That's just how it
I'm
works,
yeah
right?
I'm assuming it's just built in an algorithm that it's just gonna grab it
This
and
is
do
this
it.
is actually worse. This is worse for higher ranked people, I would imagine. I would assume there's more people at like our level, like 1500, than there are at
Hmm.
like 1800 or 2K. So I assume that the higher you are, you're more often going to be ranked down. So
And
you're like
then you're
you're
Yeah,
gonna
but
have
don't
a
you
negatively
think?
chance to
points.
lose a lot more and gain a lot less when you
Yeah,
win.
that's the only concern that I would have is that
Yeah,
it's
but if
like
you're able to get 5 games in half an hour as opposed to 2,
you
I
would
think
still
it should.
rather too, because if you lose one of those 5, so, like, you're gonna so I've played in games with the current system where the other team has gained 0
Yeah.
from them winning. So
So this is the exact
Oh,
problem with this at the higher end. For like 90% of people, I think this is like a great change.
yeah.
But like for example, for us, if we don't queue on a Monday for our fives team, our games are all 0 point wins. And if we lose, it's like 20 plus, right? And we're like we were when we were doing this, we were like 2100, 2200. The teams that we're getting 0 points from are like 2K rated teams. So they're still really good teams that are really tough to beat, right? So we eventually decided that it just wasn't worth us playing because those teams could still very easily beat us, right? And it just wasn't worth it for us to queue up without competition inside of our range. So it's like 2 to 300 points, I think, and it ends up being worth zero.
wow.
And we just like you should always get at least 1 point.
I
Like
was gonna
don't make it
say,
zero.
yeah, I
You
feel
know,
like 0 is just crazy. Like,
It
you
is crazy.
won, like, you should get something, like a percentage. I don't feel like you should ever get
You
0%
shouldn't be allowed to match if, you
if you're
can't
gonna get
get
0
any
points.
points off it, right? Like,
Yeah,
that
I
just doesn't
agree.
make any
and so
sense.
Yeah,
like
it feels
like an
bad.
1800 team to like a 1500 team may be a huge difference, but when you get in the higher ends of the bracket, like I feel like it isn't as big of a range. Like everybody at 2K is fully geared and
Yeah.
good comp and
Yeah, like
everything,
a
and
couple good games away from, being at your rating.
Yep,
Like,
or
or
people
just a
leveling a new
couple
team.
bad games away from going back down, you know? So, like, there
yeah.
Yeah.
could be someone who was just a couple hours ago 2,300 and now they're 2,080, you know?
But I
Yeah.
don't know how you fix that. I don't know how you can fix that problem without also making it possible, unless you said like the points are literally 1. If it was like a reasonable amount of points, like 5 points for win no matter what, someone at the top could like abuse this and just grind infinitely
Yeah.
really, really high on a
And
dead
that's
time
why they have it
period.
in, I think, is that there's
Yeah.
already some people like in the EU, there's like this rogue named Mir who's insane, and he has above 3K
Wow.
points, right? And that's just because he like wins just every
Yeah.
game pretty much,
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's yeah, I mean, like you said, I think this will be an 80-20 for most players. This is gonna be positive change.
But for the people that really, like, are invested in PvP, I feel like it's gonna hurt them, which I feel like maybe after a certain rank, maybe, like, after 2K, you can't, like, match make lower
Yeah,
or something like that, you know what I mean?
there's like other systems that are cool, like where if you once you break into like challenger mode or grandmaster or something where
Right.
you are now in like a different ladder where it functions differently, that could be an interesting way to do it. But it's just tough. I mean,
It's
there's
p
the
and
problem that they need to solve is super long queues.
yeah,
It's like the
I,
queue
I
problem
think it's
again.
overall better for more people, so it's a good
Yeah,
change though.
they
yeah.
they haven't, like, said everything about it. It's possible that the higher you go, still the gap is, like, shortened, you know what I mean? Like, it's possible that that's, like, a
Yeah, we
thing
just have
that's
to wait and see.
all yeah, we just kinda have to wait and see.
But that's not the important change.
Yeah, so the next changes, I'm gonna go through each one by one, because some of them I don't know what they do, and I'm hoping somebody does. So the first one, the quickening gem now provides 100 haste rating as opposed to what it was at 330. So this is a big nerf here.
Oh
I
yeah.
just wish they had done it earlier. Like, it's sad to all those people who spent all that money going back and trying to get a gem, or the people who put in the extra time to be ahead are now being punished for that. It is an overpowered item, though, so
Super
It's
overpowered.
busted. I leveled my mage to 70 that I did play in Classic as well. I had the Mind Quickening Gem, and it's already been nerfed once. This is the
Yeah,
second nerf they're
yeah,
doing to it, and
Oh wow.
it was insane. I had 1 second frost bolts
yeah.
before they nerfed it. So like, or
That's
with
just not
Bloodlust
fair.
and Icy Veins. So yeah, and I would just pump somebody down in like seconds with that. It was crazy, and some people in our guild are complaining that they're still using it in PvE as well. That it was a really good trinket for doing arcane explosion. So they're pretty sad that it's going away for that. So
Oh, it's getting nerfed in PvE too. I didn't
yeah,
really actually take that. I was just reading changes to Arena, so I didn't think about the fact that it might be just nerfing it across the board. I thought it was
Which I
nerfing it
also think
in
it's fine.
Arena.
I mean, like, I thought it was cool that there were, like, some items like, "Oh, this item's still gonna be good in TBC," but the way the game should function, that probably shouldn't be the case for most items. Like, we went back and we got a Badge of the Swarm Guard, for our GM warrior, and that's cool, but, like, why is that still good? That's
yeah.
Why
like,
did we have to do that?
eh.
I don't know. It was pretty fun. We talked about that
Oh,
last
it was
week, and
fun. No, I'm not saying it wasn't fun.
you know, the big Anubis guys. We walked in there being like, I don't know how hard this is gonna be, and then Lock Dude tanks one. Like,
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, they just can't hit you. They're gray mobs.
it was so funny. Okay, so the next list is 5 items that just aren't allowed in Arena. I believe they'll just unequip or they just won't work if you have them on. So the first one is the Nigh Invulnerability belt, which is the
Uh,
engineering belt that gives you the big old shield. And that one I've lost to, I can't tell you how many countless times from rogues. So any thoughts on this one, guys?
God, this was such a stupid item, and I hate it so much. It's so for people who don't know, it is a belt that you can wear, an engineering belt that you can pop a 4K shield on yourself in arena. That I mean, so let me first off say that I don't think that any profession items should be allowed to be brought into uh should be allowed to be brought into arena. I think it's a little bit crazy. Maybe like goggles or something like that are okay, but I think that if they ban goggles, I would also be okay with it. I don't think that professions should make like a major difference in arena. That's the
Yeah.
whole point is like we face each other without any external factors other than like I guess you do bring your gear in, but like I
Yeah,
just
but I
think
mean,
that
they make
that's
a difference
the
in
intention.
PvE. Why shouldn't they make a difference in
Well,
PvP?
no, because you can't bring any other profession stuff in. Like, they
Yeah.
don't let you bring in other profession stuff. So,
Yeah,
the
you
fact that you can
That's
bring in
true.
can't even.
engineering stuff is
You can't
ridiculous.
even bring in pots and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
you either
Yeah.
allow everything or you allow nothing, and I think for
Yeah.
some reason
Yeah.
they allow some engineering stuff that is a little bit crazy. Now, I
Well,
wanna
you
say
can't
this is a
even
dispellable. This is a dispellable 4K shield. So, it's not like it was the end of the world.
And it can backfire, but it was
almost
just too
never
good.
yeah, almost never backfired though.
Yeah, the case that yeah, if the backfiring was a higher percentage, it probably would have been fine, but the fact that it almost always works, uh is quite unfortunate, and because it has that, like, that R and no one has fun in that RNG, like, no one wants both sides don't want that RNG. Imagine it fails that, like, 10% of the time it actually fails, then you're
I
like
only remember it failing once, and that's when I got like an 8K MS on somebody, and I was just like, "Holy Christmas, what
Yeah,
is this?"
Yeah.
that guy's
I
probably
just
like, "What the heck?"
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
I'm like I
remember
just one shot this guy.
well, and yeah, and the best was it was so good that people would pop it at full health because it just almost never failed, and all of a sudden you just see someone get chunked, you know, because you hit them, and then like you insta kill somebody. You're like, what just happened? But it was so rare that that happened that it just wasn't, you know, it just wasn't cool.
Yeah, the jury's still split on this, whether it's good or bad for the meta. Like people are saying that's going to make 2 DPS stronger, um, and that it reduces diversity because if you were a resto shaman and you had this, it helped a lot, as well as the other kind of off meta specs. It really helped to have this belt. Um, so we'll see. Like I said, people aren't really sure yet if it's good or bad for that, but I mean, with the advent of season 3 and the power of the druid and rogue gaining in popularity, I think it's good to have 2 DPS be strong because it's healthy if
Yeah.
there isn't a clear favorite. If there's you know a struggle at the top for whoever's the strongest team.
I don't think it ever bothered me on any class besides a rogue.
It's so annoying on warrior when you're raid starved and they pop a freaking shield like this because you can't get any rage and you just sit there like, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
please
it's
dispel this, somebody.
Yeah, well, and it took some it took some learning because that's what that's what priests would do. They'd first pop bubble, but then they'd sneakily pop this right afterwards while they're still full life. And you're like, why am I never getting through this bubble? And then you realize, oh, they just used the belt.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, my perspective is not Ayle's, which is like high level meta analysis. I just think that the belt is really annoying to play against.
Yep,
And
I'm
I
with you.
have it. I have engineering. Like I could use it, but I think it's just silly when there are like PvP off pieces that should be what you're supposed to wear, right? Like, they they have this in the game to wear it. I just feel like that should be the best belt for everyone to wear, or like maybe a PvE alternative or something. But having like this belt be the best belt for some people to wear is, I think, just a little bit silly. It just is a frustrating thing to play against, especially when other professions can't bring stuff in.
Yep, it was very interesting though to get Ailes high level
Oh yeah,
meta
yeah.
thoughts. It was super cool. All right, so the next one, I don't actually know what this is, so I'm gonna need somebody to tell me, but
You don't know
the net-o-matic projector is no longer allowed.
the net trinket.
Let me just say thank God, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but there were teams that abused the shit out of this as well, which was really bad. And we often
What's
found
it
the
do?
issue
It
it
nets you.
nets you for 10 seconds.
10 seconds?
Hmm.
Mhm. So imagine a BM hunter netting your healer.
Oh, God.
And that's basically what would happen. And there's actually teams. The problem wasn't one, because you can trinket out of one. Its teams would run two. So you trinket and then you'd immediately get in another 10 seconds.
Nope.
I don't think I
So
ever went up against. I don't think I ever got a net on me in
much
PvP.
less much less common, I would say, at our level than
yeah.
like the belt is.
Can you
Um,
use the nether nets,
nets? No, that's like my
Taylor?
point. You cannot. Um, I mean, this is a trinket though, right? You put it on,
Yeah.
which I think is
And
why it
it's
slips through.
it's a 10-minute cooldown. So some people are saying like, oh no, this is balanced, like it's fine. But if you've ever played against it, it's not fine at all because it's just something that you don't expect them to have at all, and you can't play around it either.
Right.
And
So
it's a big benefit just for having a different profession. Like it makes arena, it gives you too big of a benefit for your profession, which is
Which is
yeah,
not
another
supposed
Well, and
to
it
be.
engineering
resets,
thing.
right?
Everything is so, engineering based, and
That's
they
because engineering has the stuff that you put on with on use, and I think that's how everything gets.
maybe.
But that's how everything falls through the cracks. Is because it's not like an item in your inventory that nets. It's a piece of
Right.
gear you put on that net.
yeah. And it's also from Classic as well, realize. So like the power of it shouldn't be that big.
Hmm. Yeah, a lot of the other changes, I mean, they're all from Classic, right? The
Yeah.
next ones.
Yep. Now, the next item is the dazzling longsword. Now, dang it, I do know what this is, but I've forgotten
It's like
what it
it's a mini
does.
fairy fire.
That's what it is. And it keeps you from going. It keeps you from going stealth.
Yeah,
Yes.
but for 30 seconds. Chance on
Oh,
hit
wow.
for a 30-second. I mean, I'm not a stealther. I don't know if anyone is actually using this, Ale. Do you know, were people
There
abusing this?
is Snowme claims that there's a lot of people at the high end using it, but Ale, go ahead.
Yeah, it's used a lot more in the smaller brackets and twos and threes where kind of individual things like that matter. And because you can swap weapons, you can just like equip it, right?
Yep. Yeah, so
So,
that makes sense to not.
you get against a rogue, you get that, they can't turn invisible. Um, really strong.
Yep. Well,
At Tarscare says in chat, this is just rogue on rogue crimes.
Yeah, it was used a lot by rogues.
I've like normally I'd say anything to nerf rogues, but I'm gearing up to change to rogue and wrath, so I'm just like now I'm on the fence here. Oh, yep. Did you just lock up, or did I just lock up?
I can still hear you.
Looks like Yip just froze.
I can still talk. I hear you.
Oh, you're
Just
back.
fine.
You're back, I think. All right. Okay, that was really, really weird. Okay. So the
That's your internet, by the way.
could be, yeah, could be.
'Cause I
Sorry.
heard you just fine.
All right. So the next one is is the Silent Fang, and I do not know what it does.
You don't know what the Silent Fang does?
No, I don't.
Silences.
Like, is it
That's
a weapon or?
It's a weapon
Yeah.
on hit to silence.
It's a one-handed sword from Scholomance. Basically does what it says. On hit, silences. I think it's a little bit longer of a silence too, like 4 or
6
5
seconds.
seconds. 6
6
seconds.
seconds, yeah. So it is a long silence for sure.
Is that the one that goes on your back? No.
It's like a katana. It is. I think it is a katana.
I think it
I don't know if it goes on your back.
might
But
go on your back.
Was it the one that you couldn't use in Classic because it would take up a debuff spot?
Yes.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
it does go on
everything.
your back. Yep. Okay, so I do know what it is. I just didn't know the name. It's a
Yeah.
cool sword. That was a bummer that you couldn't use it because it went on your back, and I don't know why that's cool, but it's cool.
It is cool.
Okay, and then the next one is the Skull of Impending Doom, which does damage to you but makes you run fast.
Yes. So this same one was used a lot in 2s and 3s, and it basically gives you immunity to crowd control for as long as it's up. You do take a lot of damage, but that would be enough usually to give healer plus X teams the edge against 2 DPS. So the combined benefit of all these changes is that 2 DPS gets a lot stronger.
Good. There shouldn't be any
I mean,
healers allowed in
that's
arena.
dude. I mean, I'd love playing two DPS though. So
Yeah, I mean, me too.
it's
But
just faster games is why I like it.
yeah, that's getting in fast twos games is fun. So that's cool.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a big change. I feel like I hear about this much more than the other items, other than the belt,
Yeah,
and
the
the net.
belt
I
I
guess
think's the
it's like the third
most.
one. As
Yep.
not a rogue, I didn't hear about the other two as much. But yeah, I mean, pretty major changes. But I personally think it's better. I don't think people should be using like a quest item from Classic in Arena. Like it just,
A level 30 quest item.
yeah,
I
like
know.
it's just bizarre and odd, and it just shouldn't
It would
exist.
be it would be like if you were allowed to use the ranged stun trinket from Classic. You know what I mean?
I think you can.
The title charm.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I
you
think
can
you
use it
can.
in arena.
I
It
think you
does.
can actually.
No way.
I think so.
No way.
I used it in original TBC in arena.
Here's the thing: increased chance to be resisted when used against targets over level 60. So it probably
Yeah,
just
it did
isn't
do
Yeah,
that.
as
so it probably
insane.
just doesn't
Yeah.
proc.
These other ones, like, I don't think have anything like that. Like, if you have the same chance on hit to be silenced for 6 seconds at, level 50 when you got the sword at level 70. So like something like Title Charm, which like if it's balanced for people over level 60, then it is what it is. So
Yeah. Okay, so all right. Last little bit of Burning Crusade. Yeah, the last little bit of Burning Crusade stuff is so we already went over the additional token in both SSC and TK. Also, Magtheridon and Gruul's Lair. They're all going to drop 3 now. All now this one, I don't know if this was in original TBC or not, but all dungeon bosses now have a chance to drop epic gems in heroic difficulty. So not just the
I'm
last
pretty sure that
boss.
was in TBC.
Yeah, but now it's all bosses.
Yep,
Yes.
that was
Okay.
in the original TBC.
Okay.
I remember it. It's not the epic gems from Black Temple Mount Hyjal. It's just the ones from Heroics.
Yeah, the ones you would normally
Yeah.
get off the last boss, right?
Yeah.
Cool,
That
cool,
would
cool.
previously replace an epic item,
Yeah, which is
which was annoying.
yeah.
All right, and so wait, they do replace an epic item that drops?
Right now.
Right now they do. So like
Right
if you
now
don't
they
get the
do.
epic,
Okay. So hopefully these are gonna. Hopefully they don't replace the epic. Well, I guess if they
Wait,
replace
do I
the
need to do
blues, who
heroics
cares?
now? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Okay, thank God.
I mean, I don't know. Do you? Is there?
No.
I imagine most people's epic gems will be better, right? From BT
Oh,
Hyjal if you're rating.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not. I'm. Aren't they the same item level though? Are the new epic gems better item level?
The new epic
new-
gems are better gems
Yeah.
because they're statted differently. They're
Okay.
statted like normal gems. They're not like +5 hit, +5 defense. It's like
Okay.
you get like 18 stamina or whatever it is, 15 stamina.
Gotcha. Okay. New Dark Moon cards now have a chance to drop. It doesn't say from where, but I'm assuming
I think everything.
like world
They're world
drop.
drop.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The
And
world
they got a
of
lot of
Warcraft.
stamina on them. Some of them.
He
I don't
is
know
the
if all of them
greatest
do.
player in the world of Warcraft. Sorry, you just reminded me of South Park. Next one is the consortium vendor now sells Formula Enchant Weapon Major Striking. Thank God, because I was looking for this on my lock, like trying to get it for my freaking rogue so I could put it on the the weapons I was sending to my rogue. And it took me forever to realize, oh, it's not in the game yet.
Does not exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of items like that. Like you look up a vendor on Wowhead and you're like, oh, they have this, this, and this. Like there was ammo on the Karazhan, like the timeless arrows or something, or maybe that's coming next to some kind of Kara arrows and bullets, and it's just like not there. You're like, what? Like I went,
Yeah.
you go to get your +4 to stats, and it's like, wait, what?
Yeah, it drove me nuts.
Everything's not here.
And like the Wowhead page doesn't show it. You had to dig into comments to be like, oh, not available in this phase. Well, glad I
Yeah.
flew all over looking for that. But okay, so next is the Honor Hold and Thrallamar vendor now sells the pattern Nether Scale Ammo Pouch. Cool.
Just
Thank God.
Oh,
it's
yeah?
about time.
I have
It's
no idea about
about
this.
time.
I have no idea
Good.
either.
It's a pre-bisque quiver for you, or maybe it's a bisque quiver. I truly have no idea. But
It's an ammo pouch.
It's a
I
quiver.
think they're all called.
It's a
quiver.
24 slot quiver.
I'm pretty
Oh.
sure
Yeah.
I think that item slash is called quiver, but yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, the last one is the Lower City vendor now sells Enchant Ring stats and pattern Quiver of 1,000 Feathers. So this is
Now
where you get the
that's
quiver.
Now that's the quiver.
So I'm assuming one's for bullets and one's for
Yeah, the quiver of
arrows.
1,000 feathers, arrows, and yeah, like you said, the ammo pouch for guns. The enchant ring stats doesn't make sense to me. I'm a little confused as to why that's going to be on the lower city vendor when originally, I'm quite certain that is a Hyjal reputation pattern. I don't know why they're moving it right away. I'm
Huh.
pretty sure that like in Sunwell it moves to lower city or something like that. But like you
Oh.
can click on enchant ring stats and take a look. But and Dormu and Tanara sells it for the scale of the sands revered. But for some reason they're gonna put it on lower city honored right away. I don't know why, but I'm fine with it because I want it on my druid. But I don't understand why they're doing that.
Monday, when they listen to this episode, they might be like, "Oh shit, we didn't realize that changed in Sunwell."
No, leave it on lower city, please. Unless we're gonna do a rep farm, which we might do a rep farm for Hyjal. I have no idea. Then I don't care either way. As long as I get my enchant.
Dude, that ring, I want that ring so bad. So
Yeah,
if
very
rep
good.
if
A lot of
rep
classes.
farm's in the cards, I'm down.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it on that. All right, so the next one I have in the list is, and we don't have to go over it much because we've talked about it before, but the classic season of Mastery Hardcore Guild progress in Molten Core. So basically, what they've gotten done so far is on the road to Rag, they've gotten four bosses down twice, and they've done really good at it. Like they've lost like only 2 people during raid, one during a trash farm and one during the actual raid. That's not where the problem comes in. The problem comes in is people are dying in the 5-man dungeons and in Ubers, and that's where we're seeing all of the deaths.
Which makes sense to me. I'd be most afraid of, I would be like in most danger in those scenarios. Um, Especially when it only takes like one person to mess everything up.
Yeah, that's the thing is that in classic raids, I feel like the accountability with 40 people is a lot less,
You
right?
got, you got
Like we
40
all
people and you're
know,
full buffed, you're full
yeah.
consumed, full buffed. I mean, you don't have world buffs, but
Yeah, but you
you got
can't
40
die,
top level
so
players with
yeah,
a
but
lot
you
of
can't die,
healing.
so nobody's worried about taking a elixir or anything like that, right?
Yep.
And I think that when there's 5 people there, you're just like, 1, you're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna do this." You get a little lax probably. And I think in raid, everybody's like on the edge of their seat,
Oh
like,
yeah.
"I can't die. That can't die," right? And in 5-man dungeons, I feel like you're just kinda like, "I've
Yeah, on
done
your
this one
30th on
7
your 30th
times." Yeah,
Scala, yeah, you're not as afraid
right.
as your,
It's
first
it's
Magmadar kill.
yeah, it's exactly how Mel and I died. Like we walked past that barn dozens of times while trying to get this quest done, never pulled anything. Then one time she does the same exact route and it pulls. Like we
Yeah.
just like
What if we had 40
I was
people there?
scared to
It would've
death,
been fine.
to go
Darn barn.
AFK. And then finally I felt comfortable and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go AFK and grab this real quick, and then boom, we die. And like I think that's what happens. Also in the 5-mans, I've seen a lot of people just trying to skip shit. It's just like,
Yeah.
don't skip anything. Stop. Like,
But
don't
it's like
skip.
after your 30th time running it, you're like, "Let's skip it." Like,
I
"We
mean,
got this."
it's a sliding scale of risk, right? The more
Yeah.
comfortable you are, the higher risk you're gonna take, and why not? Like, isn't that the reason people are doing Molten Core? It's because they're like, let's take this. It's not just about leveling to 60 now. Let's do Molten Core also. Well, if we're gonna do Molten Core, then we need to get the gear. So let's do as many dungeons as possible. Well, we're already this far. Let's just start skipping. like, like if we're
Yeah,
already
just
this good,
escalating the criteria here, right?
yeah, yeah. Like, hey, well, we proved that we can do it now. Everyone's out to prove something. They don't just want to grind, right? Like, I
Mhm.
assume that's like something in hardcore people's brains where they just want to keep escalating.
So, just real quick, I'm gonna post this to our Discord here so you guys can see it. Friend of the show, friend of the
Felber.
show, Felber. He's been on the show before. He was the only listener we had on before. And he just sent me this, and I haven't checked to make sure this is true, but I'm gonna read it out. Everyone, after discussing it at length, I've decided to cancel tomorrow's raid in favor of conserving our. Now, this is for the Road to Rag hardcore raid. In favor of conserving our resources for a final push to kill Rag. The amount of resources we'd spend even for a 4 of 10 raid is upwards of 50 flasks, and 8 of 10 raid is closer to 100 for an extremely minor but permanent upgrade to raid power via gear. With how many deaths we've seen, we can all see that we're on a timer. We have to kill Rag before I can't read. Before we hemorrhage too many players, and it's just too costly to delay any longer. We can we can better spend our time target farming more impactful temporary raid power increases, namely Flask of Distilled Wisdom, which would allow healers to play extremely liberal with mana and spell ranks. As a result, we're moving the next raid to Saturday, January 22nd, with the goal of full clearing. TLDR, we're ready. Ragnaros dies next week.
I don't think that's that crazy. I know you're very excited about it, but I went through all of phase 1 not getting like a single upgrade on my warrior, so I understand.
Yeah, but these
But
are
it's cool though. I mean, I'm just
but you guys
excited to
have to
watch
remember
it.
these are like more difficult fights now.
Yeah, but the gear's not any different. Like the point here is that it doesn't matter how often we go 8 of 10 because the gear we're gonna get is not gonna make this like any easier. Like we're not
Are
gonna
they
be
8 of
getting
10?
enough
I thought they
gear.
were 4 of 10.
Yeah,
Are
but
they
they're
8 of
saying
10?
even at 8 of 10, it's
They're
not
going,
Oh.
yeah, he's saying at
important.
8 of 10, we're going to be using 100 flasks every week.
Yeah, which is like it doesn't make sense to do that when like we're just
100
gonna keep
blasts
you're
every
gonna
week?
keep
Well, I think,
spending resources and then dying.
yeah, I think what's like prompted this is so many people keep dying, and I don't know what they're going to do here. I think the farming resources is going to be because they really need the fire resist gear because their dude that had all the dark iron bars and had the rep to make all of the tank fire res gear died with all of that
Really?
shit on him.
Who
Yeah.
who was that?
I forget his name, but he died I believe it was Ubers.
Oh
Listen,
my
you
goodness.
can sell or you can trade within your guild, right? If you're on the Road to Rag guild.
Mhm.
Can can they just make a pact of like, hey, if you're gonna go into a 5-man dungeon, you need to give all your stuff
I
Well, I
bet
thought they
they
were
to
do it
doing that.
somebody
now. I
else
bet they
I
do
thought they
that
were
before you
now.
go
already
in
doing
there.
that. They have bank characters and stuff
Yeah,
that
they
stuff.
had just traded him, I think, that day, and then he ended up dying and like didn't make the gear.
Yeah, listen, if we trade you stuff, you can't do anything
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
at
well, it
all.
sounds like here he's pointing out they don't have a flask of distilled wisdom pattern, it sounds like.
Yep.
No.
So they're
Oh,
saying like,
really?
they're saying what's the point of going like dying to go 8 of 10 when if we just get this flask of distilled wisdom pattern, we're gonna have a
Mm,
like we're gonna be a stronger raid than if we do 8 of 10 over and over again and lose people over time. So I think this makes sense. I think that like
I got
it's
it.
just like yeah, I mean, if people are dying outside of raid and raid's costing a lot just so that they can farm up like a lot of the gear in Molten Core is not very good, keep in mind. Like the tier gear many classes aren't wearing.
Yeah,
Like
especially
there's
for like think about, priest, it's like spell damage gear. So I mean,
yeah.
they're ended up wearing mostly stuff from like Dire Maul and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, Dire Maul's really good. The fact that Dire Maul's out, I think, is a big boon.
I
Because
don't
there is a lot of good gear in there for
I think I
healers.
wore a lot of tier 1, did I not? I don't it was
No,
so long
tier
ago.
2 is the only I mean, tier 1 has some benefit, like your flash of light
Well,
maybe has like a flash
Mel
heal has a smaller thing.
yeah, Mel did well wear some tier 1, but that's just because like Dire Maul wasn't out when she was
That's
wearing
true
that, you know what I
also,
mean?
yeah. There
Oh,
also
well, and
were
maybe
tier
Mel was lazy, so that's also a possibility.
It's true, you do pick it up very easily when
But
you
yeah,
Oh.
that is that is that
Ah,
is
here it is, yeah.
exciting.
The 3 set is minus -0.1 second to the casting time of your flash heal spell. Ooh. Big big
Yes,
set bonus.
which, let's be real, in Classic, Flash Heal was your main go-to spell
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I think
because
0.1
you
second
never had to
like
worry about mana. You were just like, "Well," like, it was like a race to get a heal off before the other person got the
that's
heal
true.
off.
Your
Like,
parses were
that was
better
your
with this.
goal.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
better like this because you can snipe a little bit
Yeah.
easier with the 3 set, you're right.
Yeah, that was the only goal of Classic. It was like and I think what's the one fight, like, right before Frogger?
Um, the big guy, Patchwork.
Yeah. Yeah, Patchwork. And when we'd go to him, it was like, "Ooh, this is kind of exciting." Right? Like or the one where you could only heal, like, once a minute or whatever it was, like, that
Yeah,
was kinda fun too, right? Like,
God, Lotho was so scary.
nah, it was
That was
fun.
the worst. I was saying this, in Raid, I think, that I used to dread that because I would call the group. So we had we had different groups because the group that should go get the spore is not the same as like group 1, group 2, group 3.
Right.
So we had we set everyone into A, B, C, D, E, F. But then like as I'm DPSing and like trying to parse, I'm like, A group go, B group go, and I had like no way. I didn't like monitor it anyway. So I was like, after like 10 seconds, I was like, what did I just say?
Yeah.
C group
E,
go?
F,
E, F? Like
K.
I have to like try to remember the order of the alphabet, which sounds really easy, but I'm trying to
Ugh.
parse it over here. I'm trying to make sure I live and hit my shadow protection potions and my
Oh my god.
bandages correctly. And I'm like, B group go, C group.
Right. Well, what I think is funny is the reason that we probably when it was a priest's turn to heal, the reason that it always seemed like, "Hey guys, are you gonna heal?" is because we were casting our greater heal
Yeah, you're popping out that
instead
like
of our flash
4-second
heal, and
crazy
it was just
heal.
it was like this snail of a cast where you're just like, "Seriously?"
Well, and I always kept trying to tell Yip, I was like, you should do Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Yip's like, Bob, I already did this. I'm not doing anything else. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we're
He used
already
to
this
get so
far.
upset when I'd give him I'd be like, what
That's
about
because we had a
this?
40-person raid and everyone wants to whisper nonsense to me. Bob's acting like that wasn't prefaced by, also, can you put me in the first group?
And then every time you did put me in in an early group, I would screw up somehow and mess up the parse. Like I'd
There
had
was one time I
too
put you
much
in the first
pressure.
group and you pulled before the spores
Yeah,
came
I
out and
remember
died.
that.
And you're like, no.
Oh, so bad.
You're too
Never
excited to
again.
parse.
Oh.
Parse was also a very conservative tank back then, in full mitigation in every way.
Uh,
But
It's because I wasn't your healer, so you had to be really careful.
all right,
Mhm.
so the PTR is up for Blackwing Lair's Season of Mastery, but we're going to talk about the changes here in discussion. Okay, so they're going with the same model as they went with Molten Core, and I don't know if this is, this is going to be all of the changes, and the group that wrote this article didn't get to Neff, so we don't know if there's anything new there. There's been a ton of new spells from NPCs that have been data mined from the PTR. But here, do we want to go through some of these changes? Yep, you want to take Razor
yeah,
Gore?
I can break down Razor Gore. So the big thing for Razor Gore is that there is a new big egg in the middle of the room that will spawn a
Big omelet.
unstable chromatic drake. Yeah, it'll spawn a big omelet you can all eat after you kill Razor Gore. But basically, it's just
Alright.
another ad that breathes on you during the egg phase and the ad phase. And it sounds like it's actually very easy. You just tank it off to the side and then do Razor Gore like normal. So pretty simple, but it is cool. They're adding, again, they're adding new stuff, which is cool.
And it
But
has a
it
bunch
sounds
of
like
abilities, right?
it has a bunch. Yeah, it has a bunch
Yeah.
of different things that it does, like
It's a
random
chromatic
effects.
drake, and it has like one from each school where it does, puts all sort of poop on the ground and
Yeah,
fire
puts
and
players to
poison.
sleep.
Yeah,
Uh,
frost traps. Like it's got like all kinds of stuff.
Listen, these are very difficult things when you have 40 people in a raid,
Yeah, but I
right?
mean, just think about yeah, but think about the Razor Gore phase of Razor Gore. Like
Oh, I know. I
the
know.
egg phase, I can understand this being like crazy. And I don't know. I didn't see if this affects like the person using the egg or using the mind
Mm.
control. Maybe they'll get hit more often. But in normal BWL, I was you only needed one person to do the eggs. But maybe this will like cause more damage to that person and make it a little harder too.
I
Um,
feel like this is a scenario where if this was in Classic when we played, it would have been Yip mind controlling the eggs and Bingo getting something on him and running the sleep dragon past Yip and Yip falling to sleep.
ah!
Bingo, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's probably the case. Uh, but hey, it sounds fun. Sounds cool. I'm jealous. I kind of wish all this stuff was coming later. It's gonna be sort of disappointing. I guess we can talk about more of these changes, but it's gonna be disappointing if the next season they don't include the harder versions. Like, what if they go back to the easy versions of these raids?
Oh
Like, I'm
wow.
like, this is sort of like the hardcore season, but it's also the season of mastery where everything's harder. Like, I would love to do a non-hardcore of this. Like, no world buffs, the stuff's really hard, but it's just too soon.
Yeah,
But
I
what if they
Yeah.
took
think a
away
lot
this
of
stuff?
people I think a lot of people are in that boat. I mean, Season of Mastery would be dead without the hardcore challenge, I think.
Yeah,
It I mean, it would not be
That
dead.
is an
There'd
opinion.
be well, okay, just I mean, it is factual based on like the servers. Like they could have definitely run a handful of servers and made it'll work. There's enough like non-hardcore players to like fill up like a few servers, but it's just most of us are like, "Hey man, we're on the ride to Wrath, bro."
Yeah. And I think they did that on purpose. It was the more I think about it, it was a marketing decision because at the end of the day, it's subscriptions, right? And we're already playing the game,
Hmm.
right? They
Yeah,
created this as something different for people who weren't playing. And all
yeah,
of us want to play it too, but we're already like kind of busy with one, right? And the more I think about it, like I was upset at first because I'm like, well, I'm not gonna be able to play it. I just won't have time. And I realized, well, it really wasn't meant for me to play,
yeah.
even though I want to, which
right.
which sucks. But it's like, I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
you
way
have
it
to look
is.
at their target audience, right? Like their target audience weren't the people that were already paying.
Yeah,
It was the people that weren't paying anymore. The people they lost from classic to TBC.
the
And
people
so,
the people who said the raids were too easy and the world boss were too much, and
yeah,
that's who they're trying to get to play or making this for, essentially.
right.
Just my opinion.
So,
Yeah, I totally.
yep, I'm just gonna turn this actual discussion section over to you, to Mod, because you just would understand all of these mechanics more than me being a tank in Classic. I was like, point me to
I
the bus, guy. Point me to the bus. I'll get you the football.
Point them in a direction and set them free.
Yep.
Yeah, listen, I was like a fourth tank in BWL, but let's go through here. The next one's Veil Straws, which I first misread and was like, "Yo, they're making it better for hardcore players for some reason." That's funny. So he's got a lot more health, which is cool. Uh, but burning adrenaline has been
Yeah,
reworked.
because it was at 30%, right? Now they're starting at about 60%.
Yeah, it was like you would like immediately get down to execute range, and we would just be like
Yeah, yeah. It
pushing
would
them
basically
down.
be 10%, and then you'd be like, execute, execute, execute.
Yeah. So like they didn't give full information in this article about how it works. It just says it gives you more and more haste and damage while dealing more and more damage over time until you eventually die and explode. But it says though that their main tank got hit and they were able to keep healing through the debuff. Um, and it made it so that like haste, like they had a ton of haste and extra damage, so like threat wasn't a problem. But my question is, if you heal through it, do they not explode at the end, or do they always explode no matter what?
Mm.
Because I'd be curious about that, because the way that burning adrenaline works right now is that like you explode no matter what. Like fight's over, you have to run to the corner and you explode and die. Um, but I don't know if that's how the new one works. There are probably going to be people dying who aren't the tank, but I wonder if you keep healing through it, if it's possible to live or not. They kind of imply that it is. But before, if your tank got hit by burning adrenaline, he was dead by the time that timer was up.
That's a good question.
Yeah. So, and once we know more about that, it would be interesting though that if you can heal through it, people wouldn't die, because it could be mean that hardcore has like a shot of going no deaths through Veil if they can like pump out enough heals. That
Can't
might
you
not be the
hearth
case.
it, though? Can't you hearth it?
Um, is that not cheating?
I believe the hardcore community agreed that, like, if they get to that point to doing like, they haven't agreed to it yet, but there's been discussions that they think that that's
I mean, it's
probably
an
allowed.
unavoidable death unless you hearth, right? So, like, I feel like you
But, like,
can't count it against
maybe
somebody.
Blizzard's changing the fight mechanic completely just because of not the hardcore community per se,
Yeah, the
but the
Soul of
Soul of
Iron.
Iron buff.
Yeah, I think that's a bigger thing. Like, there, I'm not. I listen. I like the hardcore community. I'm not gonna rag on them too hard, but there is like a whole meta of like, this death doesn't count. My death doesn't count, and
Mhm.
it is like, it diminishes the value a little bit. Like having that
There's
Soul of
also
Iron is
there's
cool.
like a competing Soul of Iron group that
Yeah,
like there's a Soul of Iron guild that's like no crazy rules, no
Yeah,
no like
they could run dungeons as much as they
yeah.
want, yada yada yada.
So
yeah,
it would be cool to see a change where like you don't have to die. We're just not sure if that's
yeah,
here yet. And I would really, I mean, they have Soul of Iron in the game. That's the reason I think that they should make it so that there is a way to not die. Um,
right.
but I mean, hey, that's there's no like there's no guarantee. Like there's no Blizzard doesn't have to let you be able to do every boss without dying. That's just not like that's not in the contract you sign with Blizzard when you sign up to play World of Warcraft. Like this game needs to be clearable with no deaths no matter what. So it is up to them on what they do, but it would be cool to see a way to be cleared without like losing people, without having to do like the Hearthing strategy for it. And even still, we had a couple times where our tank would Hearth and he would still end up dead for some reason. Like it would bug out and they would die, which is a shame. But yeah, that's Vale. The fight should be, I mean, other than more health, I don't know. The fight should be pretty regular still. Like it should still be pretty doable. This one doesn't come off to me like it's impossible. Um, and they did down it on the PTR, so maybe there'll be more changes. I'm not really sure. When did they say this is coming out? There probably will be some new changes in here.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
assuming
for
this
the
is just the first wave.
Yeah, so
Remember,
they
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 like
looks like they changed a lot, I thought, in the first Molten
well,
Core.
I mean,
Um,
in the first Molten Core, like GMs were showing up at like the big like streamers raids and resetting bosses
yeah,
while
yeah,
doing a
with me,
tweak.
yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of these things change for sure.
Hey
Well,
guys, Ayle's gotta go.
I have to go, but I just looked quickly because the PTR is live right now, and there's actually a group has just killed Chromagus.
Oh,
Oh,
So,
nice.
nice, yeah.
and actually, they just killed Neff as well.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm watching the stream right now.
Nice.
that was fast.
I don't know what changes Neff had, but Chrome looks insane.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
got those in
yeah,
the notes. We're gonna hit
Yeah.
those next. It looks
yeah. That's pretty cool.
whoo.
Even if they make the changes for Vale that'll keep the Soul of Iron alive, I don't see how many survive past Chromagus. He's insane.
All
Yeah,
right,
and I think that's
that's the
where the real deaths
challenge.
come in.
That'll be the big one.
all right.
But
Well,
that's a real death, you know?
That for sure.
all right, Ale. The link to send your audio file is in the chat. Is there anybody you want to shout out or any socials you want to throw up before you go?
I mean, just make sure you go to, your new channel on Twitch, to Blaze and Bob.
That's
Get
what you always used to do on Countdown, man.
what's that?
You used to always be like, check out Countdown to Classic,
I
whenever
mean,
you were on there.
you're the captain that's making it happen. So I'm not streaming anymore. I'm just here because I love the game and I love to talk about it. So thank you for having me on and allowing me to do so.
Yeah, well, we will definitely
Happy to
have
have
you on
you.
in the future. Happy to have you. Thank you for showing up, and go have a fun night at date night.
I will.
Have
It's dinner
fun.
time.
Bye.
All
Ooh,
right.
Bye,
dinner
guys.
time.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, so now I gotta real quickly switch this to 3 after Ale drops out. Hopefully this
Dang,
just
get outta
bam! Oh,
here.
look at that! Boom! It's just
Boom! Wow,
all
nice
oh.
transition.
Although Yip's like head is huge in this one, but uh,
I'll sit further
Back
back.
up. Yip.
Well, you guys are small. Why are you guys 8 feet away from him?
hey man, I'm just a head here, a head and hands. You know what I mean? Like,
No, you're not. Yeah, you're more background than you are you.
oh,
I'm the
okay,
only one here and present.
all right.
Um,
Well, yeah, smooth transition. Yip, you want to move us on?
yeah. So the next one's Fire Maw, which we wiped on Fire Maw quite a few times. This is definitely one that I think will sounds harder. Sounds harder for normal guilds, but I'll read through it. Fire Maw has a lightning shield. So now instead of just stacking a fire debuff that you need to drop stacks on, you also gain a stack of static electricity every time your health lowers from damage, which is like all of the time. That's like every time that he puts out a flame buff, you are taking some amount of damage. So you're also getting like static electricity debuffs.
It's a
And if you're
flame
within
buffet.
You're right. It's a flame
Flame
buffet.
Buffet.
Which is
God.
I always thought was funny because like both are totally acceptable. Like it is a flame buffet. Like you can
No.
totally get away with that being the word. Um,
No, you cannot.
but once you have 10 or more stacks of static electricity, and you're within 10 to 15 yards of another player, you will unload the debuff as a chain lightning, hitting all your nearby players. So now, melee not only have to like run out to the side like you normally do to drop stacks, if you just do that, you're gonna explode other people with chain lightning. So um, you gotta spread out, I guess, when you're getting hit by the static electricity, or of course, as this article on Wowhead says, the best way to kill this boss would be to bring 0 melee damage dealers. Which, hooray!
Good
The
luck.
melee are getting their comeuppance here. Going just stacking warriors. There you now have a problem with that. Will make this fight much harder. Um, so that's pretty much the gist. Is uh, instead of just having the flame buffet, as Bob said, you
Yummy.
also have this like AoE to look out for. So you need to spread out, and if you're melee, you won't be spread out. So you have to spread out ahead of time, or you're gonna need to spread out when you're at like 8 or 9 stacks. So there is a bunch more to do. It definitely seems killable, but Fire Maw is a bad man who who hurt us. So I can see this being very frustrating for some people, especially without world buffs.
What's crazy is I remember, God, I think it was Fire Maw, but it might have been the other dragon. What's the other dragon you fight? Ebon Rock.
That's
Like,
Flamegore and Ebonrock. Fire Maw's the one
oh,
before the two.
Oh yes,
Fire
Fire
Maw's the
Maw's the
really hard
one
one.
that screwed us because of the human female model.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, that throws me off. But what I was going to say is either Ebon Rock or the other one that we fight in that area. In vanilla, our strategy, we actually like would run around the corner. You know how you fight them in that corner? On the left side, we would run into that corner. And that was how we hold on, I got to stop this real quick. I got to pause this.
I can look. I can look while you guys are talking.
No. I just had to pause Ayle's upload, or it might really mess up the stream.
Oh.
But yeah, it was just like this weird thing where we ran out, but I don't remember which of those bosses it was. I'm assuming it was Ebon Rock. Like we would run out like because it was to get away from a debuff. I've never
That's
brought it up
definitely
on the
just Fire
show.
Maw.
No. Fire like we for sure ran out when we got enough stacks of Fire Mob. But what I'm talking about is the two dragons. One of them, the two dragons, we would actually run around the corner. Like if you're looking at the corner on the left side, there's a little corner.
Why?
I don't know. It was one of their debuffs that we would run from, and I don't remember
Wait,
what it
who?
was. It was either Ebon Rock or
Um,
the other one that you fight in that corner.
I mean, there
But I'm
like
kind of derailing us, and
so there is
anyhow.
so I do want to say that Flamegore has an AoE, but I think he does it all the time. He does it the whole fight, so I don't know why you would need to run out. Oh, you guys probably weren't tranquilizing. So, unless you were bringing 3 hunters to tranquilize, the enraged Fire Nova probably kills you. So maybe when he was enraging, you
He
guys were
says
running
you
around the corner?
guys like he wasn't
Yeah, he's talking about
included.
vanilla. He's talking about,
Yeah.
like, 20
Oh.
years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a
Because we would
minute.
never run away from
No.
Flamer. It's probably the tranquilizing. If he wasn't tranked, I think he does do a ton of AoE damage.
Okay, so
Um, so, like, if you didn't
was
have it,
it.
like, your rotation down, or you didn't have 3 hunters to tranquilize, you probably maybe that made it safer. That would be my guess. But no, did they not change those 2 bosses?
It doesn't look
Or
like they have yet. I'm assuming because they made changes to almost every boss in Molten
yeah.
Core, right? So I'm assuming they're just on their first round of changes and not doing too much because there is a ton more more data mine spells that we just don't see in
Yeah,
these
that's
tests.
true.
So like not saying they're gonna all happen. Uh, No, Kim, I'm not talking about Cro-Magnus. um, but yeah, like they might not even use all of them, but like I'm figuring this is just the first round of changes. But
Yep.
but as Kim mentioned, Cro-Mag looks tough.
Yeah, so this is gonna be interesting. So first things first, Cro-Magnus does not only do 2 random breaths. So before, every week, you would just get locked, your raid lockout would have 2 breaths, that he would do.
And you were hoping
They
that
would
it
cycle
wasn't
back
time
and forth.
lapse.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, time lapse ended up not being too big of a deal, but at first, very, very difficult. But now he's gonna do all of them in a random order. Um, I don't know if that means the order is selected and then it's a random order, and then for the rest of the fight it's an order, or if it's just random which one he puts out every time. I'm not sure. Um, but this is gonna be crazy. um, First of all, you can't LOS it around walls, and the breath is 360 degrees, so it's gonna hit everything.
So you
Um,
can't hide from it now.
yeah, so well, you can, and I'll explain the next thing. Whenever a debuff in the raid is cleansed, an effect will happen on the battlefield. If a green debuff is removed, a poison cloud spits on the ground, which that alone means you can't stack up around the corner
And I
and do
wonder
Chromag the same way.
I wonder if it's
Um,
like a Nax one where it like keeps getting bigger, like
oh
the
yeah,
poison
maybe.
cloud.
Um, if a bronze one is debuffed, a firework goes off and stuns random players nearby. If a red one's removed, a patch of fire spawns. If a blue one is removed, an ice block will spit on the ground. Standing behind ice block, you will gain a buff hiding behind an ice block. And that is the only way to line of sight Chromag's flame breath.
So
So
you're using
basically,
people.
you're using debuff. So when you debuff the blue one, an ice block just like Saf will come out, I guess. Like it's like Saffron, where you hide behind the ice block. But it sounds like you have to time it because the ice blocks are a short duration. So basically, before the breath comes out, everyone dispels the blue one. You run behind an ice block, and then you spread out around the battlefield again. It sounds like you're gonna have to be spread out because of all the other effects that you're gonna be debuffing off. But then
Oh
once
god.
it's time for the ice block phase, you guys gotta like get together or like near each other, or maybe by group, dispel a blue one, get behind an ice block, and then you can hide. Um, yeah, I mean, it sounds from what they said, it sounds doable, and Ayle just said that someone did just down it. But it does sound very hard. It sounds like it is a much different fight. Sounds like fun, but again, I don't know. A lot of these fights with 40 people seem kind of frustrating. Like
Hmm.
there's so much accountability in a lot of these fights that I think would have made it really would have made a really difficult time for us. Like I feel like we had a pretty strong guild, but when it came to like a lot of responsibility, like 4 horsemen or something like that, we struggled a lot. It was hard. For getting
Yeah.
40 people to know what the boss fight does and then doing it properly is not easy. But that's why this stuff is like I hope they keep some of this stuff for the next time I feel like playing vanilla
Yeah,
because
I
it does
know.
seem like oh that sounds kind of fun to go through and try to do. Uh, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's doable. It's been done. Maybe they'll change it more, but they definitely these bosses they've definitely changed quite a bit. And I kind of like where the difficulty's at because these bosses were like somewhat hard. Imagine these bosses without world buffs as well too. That's like a really important
Hmm.
That's a
part
huge
that
point.
yeah we're all used to doing these with world buffs. So no world buffs plus these buffs will be a pretty difficult raiding experience for most people. I think.
Yeah, I think although in our guild specifically, like we did lose buffs quite often. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, yeah, that's why it's like I think we could have done all this stuff. That's why stuff like Cro-Mag just would have been annoying because we can't cheese through it with high damage.
Right.
We have to all do the stuff. You're not gonna be able to just sit there tanking spanking anymore.
but all in all, I'm assuming it's going to be just like the Molten Core uh build up. I don't believe we have a date that it's coming out, so it's probably a couple few weeks off, but
Yeah.
we'll continue to look at the changes as they come in, and hopefully hopefully we'll get to see people do it, because I've just been watching hardcore raids, so I don't even know anybody that's actually like I've been trying. Like nobody's doing Ani on our hardcore server. I want to get the Ani buff on my hardcore tune, because
Yeah, I can imagine that's not a one you want to run into. Hardcore.
dude, one of the guys in chat, Nettie, he started a hardcore character, and he was at level 8 and got the Ani buff,
Oh,
which just took him from like 60 attack power to like 220 attack power, and it's just like like 5% more crit, and he's just
yeah,
like
just absolutely
deleting
destroying it.
things.
It makes such a big difference. It's really
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
funny.
at low levels, it's absolutely uncanny to have
It's
that
crazy
buff.
how often it was dropping, like when we were playing Classic, and how
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was on a
rarely it
Yeah, just
drops
timer.
all
now.
day. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, it makes sense. But that's
Yeah.
probably more fair. You hardcore people shouldn't be using
Or are you
these.
no longer a hardcore person?
I don't have time to like seriously play hard.
Mm.
I've barely been playing normal,
What
which
happened
is
to
probably
you
good.
what happened to you and Bubble? Did you guys stop your duo?
Halo came out, and we're like
Oh, okay.
we're first person shooter buddies first, you know. So and I mean I have another warrior and stuff too. It's just like okay, I'm switching to my druid. Leveling to 60 is
Fair.
like quite a long way, and I might die. So it's like gotta do I gotta do some of this stuff first. But I'll be
Yeah.
back. But I'm not. It's not my priority right now.
Alright.
Listen,
You're
the
like
35
hardcore
hurt.
all the time. You guys have been
The
going real hard.
Yeah,
Like
a
even if I was
little
playing, I
nuts.
couldn't compare.
Well, you just don't die. Like if you
you
hadn't made
compared to
5
But
Mel.
rogues.
even if I got to 60 right now, I'd be like, dang, you guys are still going hard. If you keep dying and
You
restarting, because
hey, I
I
feel like
wouldn't
I'm
have
getting
any.
lumped into Bob's like 24/7 hardcore journey,
You
and
are.
like Bob and I level like after I get off work for maybe a few hours at night. Like we're not that insane.
I
Okay.
mean, we're kind of insane. I mean, on the weekend, one
You
of the
guys died
times
at
we went
35 and
12
kept going.
hours.
If I died at 35, I just don't know if I
It
have it in me. You guys are like
it was
you
tough
sealed
for
your heart.
it was tough for Mel. I had to be like, "Come on, Mel, we just gotta jump back in the saddle. It'll feel good once we get rolling." And she's like,
Oh, I love how
"Okay."
Bob acts like he's so supportive, right? No. Bob, after we died, was like, I apparently can't leave you alone. This is just,
Don't
we're
you say
dead.
that.
I can't.
The
No,
VOD is still
no,
up.
no,
You can
no.
just see Bob sitting there going,
Yeah. And
"I'm
do you
just
know what Chat
silent.
was doing at that time? Chat at that time was like, Bob,
Go
go
give
give
her a
Mel a
hug."
hug.
I was
Like,
like,
and
"I
Bob's
can't
just
move."
like stone cold, like, I can't believe she
I'm
did that to us.
in shock.
I did not say you are so full of shit.
You can get a hug when our next characters are 36.
Let's go.
uh,
Oh, yeah, but okay. Well,
God.
a little treat, a possible new segment. It definitely won't be every week, but possibly a treat from time to time. We're gonna move into Yips lore time.
all right, I'm underprepared, so if I get anything wrong, don't blame me. This is not my fault. Let's call this just lore 101. Uh, so there are new raids coming out that I think are pretty cool and pivotal to the story. Everything we fought so far, they've been little babies. Kael'thas, Vash, come on, they're lieutenants. All right, they're nothing. But this week I thought I would talk about Hyjal, and it segments pretty well into Black Temple for next week. Just the way that these stories intertwine. But let's start 10,000 years ago. And if you two have questions, you can interrupt me. But 10,000 years ago was the War of the Ancients. Okay. That's the first time that the Burning Legion attacked Azeroth. Uh, they came here because Ashara was messing with the Well of Eternity. So the Well of Eternity is like this super magic pool that has a ton of magic in it. And Ashara was just like doing some reckless magic stuff with it. And Sargeras was like, "Hey, what's up with that? I'm getting some magic waves coming from this random planet." So the Burning Legion set their sights on Azeroth thanks to Ashara. They end up destroying the Well of Eternity. We end up destroying it, right? The good guys, because we don't want Sargeras to have it, and that's what ends up creating the Maelstrom. So it actually that's what like causes the two continents to split. The Well of Eternity like explodes, it rifts the two, it creates the Maelstrom in the middle of them, and that was 10,000 years ago. The important thing is in 10,000 years ago, one of the big players there was Archimonde. So Archimonde is the end boss of Hyjal who's coming out. Archimonde used to be a leader of the Draenei back on Argus, their original planet. There were three leaders: Kil'jaeden, Archimonde, and then Prophet Valen, who currently leads the Draenei. So if you go to Exodar, the leader is Prophet Valen. All three of those guys were running Argus, hanging out with all the Draenei who were called Eridar at the time. And they're all having a good time. And
Wait,
then
they had a different
Sargeras,
name?
not really. So Draenei are a faction of Eridar. So
Okay.
Draenei is not actually the race. They're all Eridar.
Mm.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
I mean, maybe Draenei can be considered a race as well too, but it's like Draenei are the outcast Eridar
What about
that
the
left
Draenei? Sorry.
What about the Draenei?
What about the
the
Draenei?
Yeah, so what happens is Sargeras, who is a Titan, he's the big evil guy. I don't know how much lore to give. Like I assume most people know who Sargeras is, but maybe I'm wrong. Mel,
I
do you know who Sargeras
absolutely have
is?
no idea.
Okay, so
He rolled his eyes.
well, no, it's like every time I bring up somebody, there's gonna be so much backstory that I don't want to like get into. But basically, the original beings of the universe, and this gets retconned over and over and over again for retail. But as of right now, the Titans are like the ones who created Azeroth, right? Azeroth was here. There was a bunch of elementals on Azeroth. The Titans showed up. They banished like Ragnaros to the Firelands. They basically like come clear out Azeroth. They terraform it by putting mountains, and then they put life on Earth, on the Azeroth, right? They create the Trogs at first, and then like the Trogs fall to the curse of flesh by the old gods, so that's why Trogs are like weirdos. Then they create the Earthen, who are dwarves, but they're made of rock, and then they succumb to the curse of flesh. So dwarves actually like lived underground for like 10,000 years, and they come out of the ground and they're like dwarves. And then they create
All right.
iron swords and stuff. So
Arr.
Sargeras, though, is one of those like
Wait,
godlike
hold on.
titans.
Is that why the dwarves are always have to go wash your back?
I don't think so. I don't know if they remember being earthen. I don't know. I'm not sure how old some of these people are, to
Well,
be honest.
I mean, you come out of the earth, you'd have to wash your
Yeah, you'd
back.
have to wash your back. Yeah, that's so true.
I think it's watch your
It
back.
definitely is, but we
It
all
is,
make
it's
fun of
funny.
it and say wash your back.
Okay.
So Sargeras is like the big bad. He's like the biggest evil that exists right now.
Can I ask the most important question before you
Yeah.
go on? Who created the Murlocs?
Who
'Cause
created the
F them.
Murlocs? Murlocs
Yeah.
probably evolved. So
We
somebody
need to kill
mentioned
them.
Murloc's history is shrouded in mystery. So we don't know. Interesting.
Mm.
But a lot of races like evolved from
Yep.
primitive races due to like magic and stuff like that. But the important thing is that Sargeras is one of these like godlike titans, and his goal on the Council of Titans is to travel around and destroy like evil or some nonsense, destroy demons. But after seeing how awful the universe is, he leads the Burning Legion. He joins up with the demons, enslaves them, and then he goes around destroying planets with the Burning Legion.
Oh.
Later on, this like gets retconned to like some other nonsense, and like the Azeroth is actually a Titan and stuff like it. Like it's very confusing. But right now,
Okay.
he leads the Burning Legion, and he's on the Burning Crusade. He's traveling the universe, wiping
Whoa.
out life, because he thinks life is like
So
evil.
he's
That's
kind of
like
like Thanos.
he's exactly like Thanos. He thinks he's doing like an evil thing because he thinks it's like the good thing. He knows that there's like
Mm.
greater evils and he's trying to prevent it. But
He thinks
I mean,
he's
he's
doing the greater good.
but he's evil. Like, he's definitely evil. He's like a real
But he's
psycho.
not.
Yeah, like he is being tainted
He's
right
like that
now.
guy that convinced himself that what he's doing is right, but it's definitely not right compared to anybody else.
Yeah. And what's cool is like this story protrudes through all of World of Warcraft. Like these are all origins to like a lot of what is happening in this game. So Sargeras 10,000 years ago sets his sight on Azeroth because of the Well of Eternity. Um, Illidan is a nasty little bugger, okay? And he also likes the Well of Eternity. He's like, "Oh, I really like power and magic." So what he does is he actually as they're destroying the Well of Eternity, 10,000 years ago with Ashara, Archimonde is there. They're like killing demigods. Like I think like not Malfurion, the big elk, like Cenarius, like the demigod of the Night Elves, gets like murdered by Archimonde, like all this horrible stuff.
Rude.
Um, so what they do, or what Illidan does, is he takes some vials from the Well of Eternity, like a psycho. Which I don't know if you noticed, but that's like how you get attuned to Hyjal, is you get the vials of Eternity or something, in order to
Yeah,
like
from each of the bosses.
from each of the bosses. So that doesn't make any sense with lore though, because what he does is he takes those vials of the Well of Eternity, which has caused all of the problems in Azeroth, right? They brought the Burning Legion here, and he says, if demons are gonna come, we're gonna need this magic power. We're gonna need this magic to defeat the Burning Legion next time they come. So he takes it to Mount Hyjal, and he creates a new Well of Eternity. And his brother, Malfurion, the leader of the Night Elves, who's like always asleep in the Emerald Dream and stuff, he catches him and is
He's a
like,
lazy
"What?"
one? Is that what you're
He's like,
saying?
"What?" Well, Emerald Dream, he is kind of lazy.
So that's
Uh,
bingo to you.
no, I'm
Yeah,
not
Yip is
better than
bringing the
you.
vials to Bingo, and Bingo's sleeping.
Well, no, because Illidan's so they're against each other in this.
Oh, okay.
Because Illidan is making a new Well of Eternity, but the Well of Eternity is what caused all the problems. So Malfurion puts Illidan in jail for 10,000 years. So that's why at the beginning of that's why if you watch the TBC cinematic, there's a couple things that Illidan says at the beginning. He's like, imprisoned for 10,000 years, banished from my homeland. So that second part
Yeah, yeah.
is what we're doing now. So
Okay.
Illidan gets released from prison. Well, I guess let's go back because we're talking about Mount Hyjal. So Archimonde is the real enemy here. Um, they attack again, like 30 years ago or something like that. They it's in Warcraft. Basically, Archimonde comes now with Arthas. If you played Warcraft, the beginning of the Third War, which is what Mount Hyjal is the Third War. What happens is Arthas comes, kills his dad at Lordaeron, and that's the fall of Lordaeron. That's when the undead take it over. He kills his dad, and at the same time, Archimonde and his like undead lieutenants, who we also fight, are pouncing up. They're coming up Mount Hyjal slowly, killing everybody, and on their way to absorb all the power of the Well of Eternity. Now,
Okay.
Malfurion 10,000 years ago knew that this was going to happen. So they planted Nordrassil, which is like a Teldrassil, basically. And it gives like the Night Elves like a ton of power. And basically, they release Illidan to help kill Archimonde because they're like, yo, this is a big problem. And Archimonde, or Illidan doesn't kill Archimonde. He ends up killing like a lich. Um, and what he ends up doing, it's like Tichondrius. He kills Tichondrius. He takes the skull of
Wait, what's
Gul'dan.
Hychondrius?
He's just like a powerful like
Okay.
dude who's like
Nobody
village
important.
king.
He's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, he's part of the invasion, right? Um, he takes the skull of Gul'dan and becomes a demon. And that is when Malfurion is like, "Okay, you're banished, dude. Get out of here." And that's when he goes to Outlander
That's enough.
because he's
That's enough.
banished, turns out. But
Okay.
Archimonde is up there and he's going up Mount Hyjal slowly, killing everybody. Um, and then when he finally gets to Nordrassil, the big magic tree, what happens is Malfurion like summons the power of all the wisps, and then they like self-destruct Nordrassil, the Night Elves lose their immortality. So prior to this, Night Elves were like immortal magic beings thanks to the world trees. They kill Nordrassil. All the wisps like attack Archimonde and kill him. Well, they don't kill him, but basically kill him.
Dude,
And
the Night Elf
we,
slash silly remote finally slash silly emote finally makes sense now.
oh, what's the emo? What's the
It's
joke?
well, there's a few different ones, but one of them was like, "Who needs to be immortal anyway?" or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So the Night Elves that you play, they've lost their immortality somewhat recently, which
Rude.
is like kind of a bummer for Night Elves.
Yeah, it would
But
be.
yeah, I mean that's
That would
Hyjal.
make
So,
hardcore so much easier.
yeah. Um, so the focus on that is Archimonde. He's one of like the three big bads. Not three big bads. He's one of the three like Eridar leaders. Kil'jaeden, who will fight in Sunwell, or will stop the summoning of Kil'jaeden in Sunwell. He's one of the other brothers, and then the leader of the Draenei, Prophet Valen, is one of the other ones. But basically, Archimonde and Kil'jaeden, Sargeras went to them and was like, "Hey, I can give you like the truth of the universe if you be my puppet, my evil puppets." And they're like, "Yeah, dude, woo, let's do it." And Prophet Valen ran
Early
away.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So that happens like a way long time ago. So that's sort of what starts everything. And what we're doing is like none of this because we're just going back in time. This
Which
already
is why
happened.
which is why it's in Caverns of Time. So it's what
Yeah,
happened 30 years ago.
it's what happened 30 years ago, and it's a prelude to Black Temple because this is when Illidan gets banished to go to Outland. He takes the Skull of Gul'dan, which is a really powerful item in game, but also like in lore wise, it's just literally the Skull of Gul'dan. It's just like infused with fell energy and power. And yeah, he goes out to Outland and he kind of takes over Outland. We can talk about that next week, but that's Hyjal. We go back in time to make sure that Archimonde does lose, because if he ends up winning, that would be a really big problem. So we just go back and make sure the timeline is the same, and we get to experience
The
that
keepers of time.
third war. Yeah, this is the third
Awesome. Well,
war. Yeah.
that was great. Yeah. So we're not going to do an
I
add-on
will
of the
learn
week.
so much during this time. I have
There's so much
no idea.
more. After I started talking, I was like, "Oh my goodness, there's so much more." If you don't know Sargeras, we've got to go way back.
Gibb's gonna have to give me private lessons, like behind the scenes.
Yeah, I don't even know where you learn all this stuff. I've just like slowly learned this over time, all this stuff.
Mm.
But I mean, I know like if you read the wiki now, but I mean, if you're just a player in the game, like where, like where in the game do you learn all this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone put out there's new books. Like,
We
yeah, I
need
know
a
the
TV
books.
show.
Yeah, they need a
We
show.
need a
They need an
Netflix
Arthur.
series.
Oh, an
Like,
Arthur Netflix series. Honestly, just copy The Witcher. Take Henry Cavill, make him Arthas. Just do it all over
Dude, he
again.
would be the perfect Arthas, dude. Oh, so good. But
yeah, you don't learn it in the game, especially with instant quest text and like just
Yeah,
questing
with
telling you
instant
what to
quest
do.
text.
Like, you
Yeah,
don't learn
and
anything.
99% of the quests have nothing to do with
Yeah.
any of like the real
are
lore
you
of the
saying
game.
when I'm supposed to get the apples for the one girl in, the starting area of the
Excuse
humans
me, they're
that
grapes.
grapes,
No,
grapes.
apples. No, it is apples.
No, it's grapes.
It's totally grapes.
Yeah,
It's a winery. They're
you're
bushels of grapes.
Oh,
you're
I'm thinking
thinking
of
of
the
the ring
Stormwind
quest we
quest.
did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
She's
apple.
thinking of the blue ring that gives you 3 and 4 of every stat, which is fat, by the
Oh,
way,
that's a
guys.
good. I almost never get that because I'm a horrible quester.
Well, you have to
I'm a
get
really good quester.
you have to get the letter from Van Cleef. Then that
Yeah.
leads you to the Stockades quest, and then you have to walk to like 17 people in Stormwind multiple
Mhm.
times, and then you finally get to kill these guys, and then you get to get the ring. But it is
No, my
it's definitely
favorite
worth
is
it.
the two people that are like 5 feet from each other that you're delivering messages to and from, and you're like, seriously, dude,
In
you
like
could
Like they're not willing
literally
to talk to each other.
in
you
every
could talk
zone.
like minimally above a conversational level and they would hear you. Like, why am I delivering
This
this?
is literally the alliance problem. That's happens in every zone. Like, hey, talk to that guy across the bar and then come back to me and let me know what he says.
You could probably overhear him while I was talking to him, but that's fine. Whatever. We'll go on.
All right. Well, we're not gonna do an add-on of the week because, like, we have a lore segment of the week. We don't need an add-on of the week, and I'm saving my add-ons.
Listen, Bob knows. Since I've given up add-on of the week, Bob now scrapes the barrel. He knows that there's only so many.
Oh man.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, guys, we're gonna go ahead and start closing out. I'd like to implore you guys to follow us on Twitter to know when we go live at twitch.tv/blazingbob. It's it's WC Reloaded on Twitter. That's the place where we always post when we are going live. Twitch might not tell you for an hour, so don't count on the Twitch letting you know if you follow. Just please check out the Twitter, WC Reloaded. If you want to send us your WoW stories or just any message, you can do so by sending an email to wcrpodcast@gmail.com. Oh, we don't have a Discord. Yeah, we do. There's a MASH Discord that doesn't get used a lot, but if you ping us, maybe it will start getting some use. That's mash.gg/Discord.
Ping us and we will come.
True.
If they ping us,
If you want to help us, tell your guild about us, tell your friends about us, post it in whatever Discords you're in. And then the other way is ratings and reviews, which you guys have been killing it, but keep them coming. You can give reviews on iTunes. You can give reviews on warcraftradio.com/directory. And I guess it's something new. I just recently found out that Spotify, you can't leave a review, but you can leave a star rating. So if you could help us out and leave a star rating on Spotify, that would help too.
Yeah, basically, Bob found out that all you Spotify people have been lying this whole time.
Yeah,
We had no idea.
we just found out in our quarterly
Well, no, they
meeting.
can't leave reviews. They can just give stars.
That's what I just said.
That's like almost
know,
the
but
same thing to me.
yeah, but it doesn't warm my heart as much, right?
It's true.
Like I like to hear the words of, how much you hate Yip and how much you love Mel. Like those
Yeah.
really warm my heart. And we get
We get
so
those
many
all
of those. So it's like so happy for me.
Oh
Get
man.
in-game hate mail. Yep, you turn into a cat. Isn't that the point of a druid?
All right. Well, Ryan, where can we find you?
Hi, I'm Ryan. You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at The Yip Show.
Awesome. And Mel, where can we find you?
Sorry, I was just looking at chat where they said screw Yip, Mel is Biss. And I just wanted, just to throw that out there. But
That's a chat comment, not a review.
uh. You can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch, or you can find me on Bob's stream playing hardcore after 6 Central.
Yep. And you can find me on Twitter at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can also find me daily right now on twitch.tv/blazinbob. No underscore, same spelling. All right, guys, let's get out of here.
Yeah, who could hate these cheeks anyway?
I can't.
I can.
All right, bye.
All right, chat, hang out. We're gonna raid. I don't know if Mel and I are gonna be back,
Stopping this recording.
but we are gonna raid. I'm guessing we're not gonna be back because Mel just got in town, so we
And
might have to
hasn't
just
played
see you
hardcore.
tomorrow. But thank you, Bust a Move, for the follow. Thank you, All Sadar for the follow. Thank you, the Accountant 19 for the follow, and thank you, Al Sadar for the Prime. All right, guys. Who should we? Is Wiki and F's in the chat still on? Wiki on?
I don't see him on.
Oh, I think F's might have already ended.
F's is over, Flinzy said.
Oh, bummer. All
No
right.
hit. Jerome's on. Desi's on.
Crix is on. We haven't raided Crix in a while. Let's raid Crix. He's probably doing some TBC shenanigans. All right, guys, tell Crix hi, and thank you so much for coming.
Gap.